Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So give me a moment here. Good evening, Janice and Thumper and Hank, and you guys are on Instagram. By the way, for you Instagram folks that are watching, follow the program. We're gonna be talking about Trump giving himself an A+ on the economy. I know a lot of folks are not going to agree with that. I do want to hear from you folks. We always take live callers, but if you're watching on Instagram, follow the program on Instagram. We do want to get our numbers up on Instagram as well. So if you guys watch on Instagram, do us a solid and follow. But we're currently live on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and of course Instagram. So give me a minute and we'll get the last platform up and we should get the party going here. President Trump, we go. President Trump did something that is well. I was going to say President Trump did something that is making the news, but isn't that kind of like every day at this point? He gave himself an A+ on the economy. So I do want to talk about that and how that might be reflective of what's going on in your life. And hopefully I end up getting my device working. Damn, sometimes this shit don't want to work right. All right, let me go ahead and get going what I'm trying to do here so we can get the program going. I see some of you folks are filtering in on YouTube. Somebody gave him an F plus 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 plus. You think Trump an F on the economy? That might be a bit harsh. You think Trump is doing so bad he deserves an F on the economy? Kathy Hirschman, appreciate you tuning in, and Bailey and Sir Rita or whatever. Siri, if you guys are watching us on Instagram, do us a solid. Follow the program. We're trying to get up to we're pretty close to the amount of followers so that we can start doing more regular broadcasts on Instagram as well. So if you happen to be watching on Instagram, do us a solid and follow us there. We're on the Handsome Liberal on every platform: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So we're just about here. I think I got everything I need to punch in here. Make sure I let them know this is not for children because YouTube goes ape shit when any of my lives are for children. One Dog Ruff says expel. Good luck. So you don't give him an F. You want to expel him out the class. Oh my God. Bless your heart. So I don't know. Look, we're gonna talk about Trump giving himself a whopping A++++. I mean, look, Trump is conceited. Trump is narcissistic. Anyhow, let's get the live going. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal, depending on who you ask. Got a host of things to talk to you about today. As usual, President Trump makes news. That's why we voted for him, I assume. For you folks that are MAGA Trump supporters, you voted for him because he does flip the system on his head. But in addition to flipping the system on his head, he often says things that are fairly radical, fairly controversial. And today we got a few statements coming from President Trump that are gonna be controversial in kind. So we're going to talk about that. But starting right off is the fact that you see on the screen behind me, President Trump giving himself an A+ on the economy. Now, I think many of you folks have probably heard this already, but he didn't just give himself an A on the economy. He went a little bit above that.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home. And I wonder what grade you would give to your economy. A+.
Yeah, A++++++.
Well, it's interesting because I talked to a supporter of yours. Her name is Melanie from Westmoreland County, PA.
And she goes into a spiel about who she talked to, but an A+++. In fact, President Trump just hosted a press conference not long ago where he's claiming that the American economy right now is better than it's ever been in the history of this great nation. So I'm going to just ask you folks flat out, is that reflective in how you are living? Are you seeing the economy? Look, there are plenty of folks who favor what President Trump is doing for this country and the economy, even the economy in general. But do you believe the economy is the best? What about in your lifetime? Obviously, none of us have been around for all 47 presidents or how many of them, however many it comes up with, because obviously there's been less than 47 because Trump is 45 and 47. But Is this the best economy you've seen in your lifetime? We can talk about maybe, the economies in the past, you want to talk about FDR or who got us out of the Great Depression, things like that. None of us were alive back then. I don't think I have any members of my audience that go that far back. I think that would probably precede the silent generation. So I don't think you would even be alive. I think we have plenty of Gen Xers. Before Gen Xers, there's the baby boomers. We do have a few of those, and I don't get too many members of the silent generation. So I don't know if anybody's been that far back, but best economy we've ever had. What say you? Do you think Trump is doing that well economically to make that statement that this is the best economy we've ever had in this country? Because that is what he is saying at this point. Just said it again on TV today. So talking about him giving himself an A+. Now I want to give you guys an actual clip. This came from News Nation. I took this off screen. This was shown on News Nation, another cable news outlet, maybe 3-4 hours ago. Now, this is a poll taken among Trump supporters. So this poll was only taken from MAGA. It's titled Trump Voters and the Cost of Living. The source is Political. Judge that as you may. Public first poll, November 14th to November 17th. So this is almost a month old. From November 14th to November 17th. The data sample is 2,098 adults. Here's the percentages they gave on President Trump's economy. This is coming from MAGA. 37% said this was the worst economy I can remember. It's coming from MAGA. Bad, but I can actually remember it being worse. 34%. Cost of living here is not that bad. 24%. So the majority of MAGA, despite what we may talk about on some of these shows, when polled, at least from this group of people, I don't know if this is MAGA that they polled in Los Angeles, New York, or some liberal area, but I'm shocked. This was on News Nation. I'm shocked to see that 37% of MAGA suggested that this is the worst economy they can remember. And another 34% said it's bad, but I can remember worse. Wow. Because I've been hearing a lot of MAGAs favor Trump. It suggests that the economy is good. But I do want to talk to you about that. Also, President Trump made another statement today that I really think is, I don't want to say problematic, but I think it lacks a sympathetic oversight, which is not a shot from President Trump.
National security. The one thing you need steel. You can give up certain products. You can give up pencils. Because under the China policy, every child can get 37 pencils. They only need 1 or 2. They don't need that many. But you always need steel. You don't need $37 for your daughter. 2 or 3 is nice. But you don't need $37.
No, he's suggesting that we need still, I suppose, saying that we need to live a bit more frugal. Your daughter doesn't need $37. You don't need, I don't know how many pencils he said. I don't know why he's using these weird objects. But the problem when I say this seems to lack sympathy is President Trump lives a life of excess. I mean, obviously he couldn't wait till the Air Force One was complete, so he's flying around in this really beautiful aircraft that's going to be refurbished or actually not refurbished, but made up to standard for security purposes from Qatar. You see him with an Oval Office that's now full of gold, literally just on the walls. I don't know how much you think about how much an ounce of gold costs, and you think about how much of that shit is on his walls. There's got to be probably hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of gold on his wall. Just on the wall, just for decoration. And he's telling folks that you don't need an extra pencil or 2, or your daughter doesn't need a doll, and he's living to excess like that. He could literally take the gold off the wall in the Oval Office and probably purchase a hell of a lot of folks in D.C. homes to live in. So it's crazy for him to say that. I see in the comments, Mr. Home Now, whatever you said, that's fake gold. I don't know. In the case of President Trump, he could actually easily afford to have real gold on the wall. I mean, people are throwing money at him. It's hard to imagine that would be fake gold. That's unnecessary for him to do it. Maybe, but he really doesn't have to do that. He could get real gold put up there. So if you say it's fake, we'll leave it at that. Anyway, continuing on with the conversation. Now, this one I hate to bring up, but because I know where it's going to go, but I have to bring it up because this did come from President Trump, and all of this stuff is within the last 24 hours or so. And shit, I don't know what else to say. I'm just going to play this for you.
It's a permanent pause on third world migration, including from hellholes like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, and many other countries. I didn't say shithole, you did. Remember I said that to the senators, they came in, the Democrats. They wanted to be bipartisan. So they came in and they said, this is totally off the record. Nothing mentioned here. We want to be honest because our country was going to hell. And we had a meeting.
I want you to hear how this concludes.
And I say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark. Do you mind sending us?
Now, obviously, you hear the list of countries he's naming, and you can pretty much tell where this conversation is about to go. He's not a fan of brown and black countries, and he seems overwhelmingly favorable to white nations, referring to brown and black countries as shitholes and all of that. And I see in the comments, Reggie says, let him finish. There's just more of that. I mean, there's nothing that's going to put this in any stronger context. There's many clips of him saying this. So let him finish doing what? Just digging in deeper, clarifying it. I think we know what the point is. But folks are saying that what he is saying here is racist. And I do want to get it from you folks. And by the way, these CC Racer, we get your point, but I don't want to block, ban, or censor anybody. But if you're typing the same thing over and over again, we'll have to limit your ability to type these CC Racer. So the question is, do you see President Trump tagging brown and black countries as shitholes, banning entry from those countries, while at the same time touting we need to bring people over from white countries? Keep in mind, even when it came to South Africa, the people that came to the country were white. Folks are saying that the man is racist. I want to hear from you folks. Maybe the Democrats, maybe some of Trump's detractors are misjudging him, just demonizing him. But folks are starting to say more so now. And I'm starting to see a fair bit of white people at this point. I know most of them are going to be liberals, but I'm starting to see even some independents that are starting to say that Trump is racist. It's not just coming from minorities, is the point I'm making. It's a large contingent of white folks that are now calling Trump racist and suggesting that don't put me in the category of Trump and or MAGA. Are they getting it wrong? Are they wrongfully demonizing President Trump? That's what we're going to talk about. I mean, look, he's saying this over and over again, calling the brown and black countries shitholes, banning entry from them, and speaking favorably of white countries. So I do want to get your take on that. And in addition to that, this one here, I don't know how much we're going to talk about it, but I just want to speak on it briefly because this pertains to the what do you want to call it? The Venezuelan boats that are being blown up.
Here's my breaking point on that.
The Venezuelan boats that are being blown up off the coast of Venezuela in open water. Folks are saying that, look, they're bringing drugs, dangerous narcotics, and things to the country and celebrating Trump for his efforts. But I do want to also I want to ask it this way. Now, President Trump just recently pardoned this former Honduran president, Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was a major drug kingpin, got a 45-year federal sentence. Trump pardoned him, gave him a complete pardon, so Trump shaved like 43 years off his sentence. Now, MAGA is saying the reason Trump pardoned this drug kingpin is because he's likely an informant now working for the federal government. So they're defending Trump's decision to pardon this guy. I'm going to give you a little bit more on some things about this guy, but real quick, they're saying that Trump did this because he's likely some type of government informant. There's no evidence to suggest that he is. Trump administration has not claimed that whatsoever, but that is what defenders of Trump are saying. What I want to ask you folks is this. Is it not possible that those low-level drug dealers operating those boats would not be valuable to turn them into confidential informants, to turn them into snitches? We actually pardoned the guy that's at the top of the pile, and we're killing the guys at the bottom. Does that make sense? The kingpin gets pardoned, and the low-level street dealers are getting murdered. So what I'm asking you folks is President Trump choosing murder as an option when there may be other tactics available? The point I'm making is, why not capture the operators of the boats and get them to snitch? They have product on them. They may have cash on them. They have things you can use. But to pardon a guy that's got a 45-year sentence, less than 2 years into his sentence. And by the way, what I was going to say, I was going to add on to that is, Juan Orlando Hernandez, the guy that Trump pardoned, who was a former Honduran president, the nation of Honduras put a warrant out for his arrest. They want Interpol to help track him down. So America not only pardoned this guy, they didn't send him back to the Honduras. So he's out on the lam somewhere. So not only did we pardon him in the U.S., we aided and abetted him, helping him escape other charges he has internationally. So now there's a warrant out for this guy via Interpol. But yet we're taking the drug boat operators and killing them and pardoning this guy. I want somebody to help me explain that. And I want to see wherever the hell that goes. Last but not least, and I'm going to start taking callers here. I don't know what else to do with this. I just want to play it real quick. This is Erica Kirk, the wife of the late Charlie Kirk, or better yet, the widow of the late Charlie Kirk. I want you to hear something she said today on Outnumbered to Harris Faulkner of Fox News.
After me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful and we are human. My team are not machines and they're not robots.
Okay, now I only played this, and we're not going to talk too much about Erica Kirk, but I played this from a standpoint of, because you guys know we've had a number of shows on Charlie Kirk and his isms and what was taken out of context. In fact, I still got 2 pages worth of notes that I researched on the late Charlie Kirk. What I want to ask is, does she seem, I don't know, do you sympathize with what she's going through when you take into consideration how much her husband's words hurt others? She is saying that people criticizing her family, criticizing what happened to her husband, et cetera, is wrong, and their words hurt. I'm asking, do you have sympathy for her, considering that her husband made a living doing exactly what she's criticizing others for making a living? I think she might be targeting the likes of Candace Owens and some of them who are claiming that the death might have had some kind of conspiratorial action behind it or whatever. But she's saying that it's wrong to, to run a platform, run a podcast, or whatever the case may be, and make money off of talking ill of her family. I'm just simply saying we all understand that that is how Charlie Kirk made a ton of his money, speaking ill of other people. And I don't know if Erica Kirk had any criticism of him doing it at all, or was she simply enjoying the money coming into her household? So as you see, we got a bunch of topics here. You guys know how the program is ran. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. We're going to go right into it. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to 15,000. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So it's always going to be a wild ride when you listen in here. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. Callers and viewers can be critical of anyone on this program, including yours truly. That's how free speech works. We don't even have a moderator here. So looking in the comments, so I'm supposed to feel bad because she feels like thousands of progressives in this country said Spooky Spike. I agree with that. That's my sentiment on it as well. Your husband got a hell of a lot of quotes out there criticizing everybody from Martin Luther King going down, and yet now he's gone and people are supposed to be respectful. I do believe you live by the sword. Hopefully you die by, that's how it works. That's how people believe. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. So, look, I don't favor what happened to the guy, but it is what it is. I mean, you talked a lot of shit in life. It comes back to you whether you live or not. So looking in the comments, Diana says, what is the difference between Charlie and Trump? Life and death, perhaps? One of them's alive, one of them. Listen, look, as much as people criticize Charlie Kirk, I don't think he's come close to criticizing as many people as Trump has. Not to mention, Trump has legislative powers to actually deal that criticism out to you. So he can, not only can he say horrible things about you, he has the power to do horrible things to you. So I'm not going to put Charlie Kirk in the same category. He doesn't have any power. At least he didn't have any at the time of death. Looking in the comments, can you say something wrong that Charlie Kirk ever said? Well, I don't believe that Martin Luther King was an awful guy. He said that. I don't believe that he suggested that Kamala Harris, Michelle Obama, and all of them were kind of like ignorant. There's a ton of things he said that I think that were just solely based on his opinion. And these people Kamala Harris is far more educated than Charlie Kirk. Far more educated. He's a college dropout. So if you believe that that's correct, then we have a difference of opinion. Anyway, looking in the comments, I'll go straight to the box. Second worst presidential polling in national history. Well, but Trump says the economy is doing better than it ever has. I think that says Daryl Redmond. Good evening, Daryl. Welcome to the program. I want to make sure my volume is up there. Daryl, can you hear me? Don't think it brought him up. Wow, I can't believe he just said that. Nate Dogg. Someone that actually has the name Nate Dogg, which triggered the memory I got holes in different areas. Nate Dogg, what do you mean you can't believe he just said what? We'll go straight to the box again. I don't know what's going on with bringing guests up, but Gangsta Grandma, good evening.
I hope you're not going to fluff tonight, Pookie.
Best economy in U.S. history, says Trump.
That's a fucking lie.
Well, the man says he gives himself an A+++++.
Oh, he gives himself anything. But guess what? If the UK pulls out the bond that they have in the United States, we're fucked. And they're already threatening to do that.
Yeah,
Our economy will crash.
Well, and I've heard some analysts say that real quick before we continue on. Stevie D, you says, do you want me to give you a list of billionaires and millionaires that were college dropouts? No, I understand that. I'm just simply saying that Kamala Harris, whether they graduated from college or not, they were more educated than Charlie Kirk.
White men always believe that the black women not educated, but their snow roaches are disgusting. So go fucking figure. And you looked it up, did you not? Did you not look it up? And what did you hear? The maggots are ancestors, are they not? They be fucking and they baby kids. Now one of them's going to prison. I told you they sick fucks. I told you the scavengers. They scavengers.
Well, I'm never going to accuse all MAGA of being involved in incest, but I will. Hold on. I will never do something crazy and say all MAGA's involved in incest, but I will say. Can you? Okay, I get it, but let me get my. Okay.
They are psychos.
I'm not gonna say
they
that.
Raid. They are roaches from the sea. They can't even get now. They have to rape their own little kids. And what? And what?
Okay.
They don't even know who their poppy is. And what?
You realize how many people? You realize how many African Americans you can say that about that don't know who their father is?
No, they don't know in their family. That's what I'm talking about. In their family.
Okay. I'm not gonna. I can't speak on that.
They don't know if their mama or it's their sister. They don't know.
I think you just might. I think you just may hate MAGA.
They nasty. They don't even take a shower. They going to use one rag to wash their ass and their fucking face. That's just a lot. So half the time they don't even take a shower every damn day. They just nasty.
You grouping all MAGA up with these comments?
Sure am. They group our asses. They say that we're uneducated shit. They say we don't have black fathers in the homes, and we do. It's their asses that don't have their daddies in the home. It's their asses that are on welfare. It's their asses that be raping their own damn kids. It's their asses that are up there pee-peeing up our damn schools. It's their asses that are going bipolar. And what?
How is any of this not falling in the category of being a racist?
It's not. It's not. It's telling the damn truth. You looked it up, Tim. You said
I didn't look. Wait a minute. You never let me finish talking. What I was going to say is, I would never call all MAGA racist. However, you've never let me finish this sentence. I've tried it about 6 times. What I'm saying is, while I would never consider all MAGA as racist, once you started accusing them of incest, I have come across a significant amount of cases that involve people in the rural South that are doing this stuff. It's all white guys in the rural South.
And let me tell you something. They walk like a fucking duck. They talk like a duck. They quack like a duck. They a fucking duck. They're racist. They're still on his little dingling. His little sausage dingling. His uncooked little dingling. They're racist. Everything he's doing right now is racist. He's taking Black History Month and everything from us. He's a racist. And they're still hanging on to his little nutsack. They're racist. So fuck them. Fuck everything about them and their ancestors. Guess what? They're savages. They're nasty. They're disgusting human fucking beings.
Kurt in New York says the caller, speaking of you, is not very bright at all. She's the type of Democrats. She's the type that Democrats hope for. Low IQ voter.
Let me tell you about who's not bright. Someone that went and voted for that fuckwad. They're not bright. Like he tells them every fucking time. He likes the uneducated. Oh, he's mad at the people that are, what is it called? That are educated. They're mad at him. Yeah, we are. Fuck him.
Wait a minute. How can you listen? Trump, like I say this all the time, there are a lot of legitimate reasons to vote for Trump based on his campaign promises.
There's no nice reason to vote for a racist. I'm sorry. Get off your coony looking ass. Okay, get off your knees. It doesn't make you look good. You understand? You're just a coon. Let's keep it a buck. You like like that, kid.
What the hell did Trump say while campaigning that would make you say he was racist? Remember, even the Hispanics voted for him.
Because they're dumbasses. They're fucking dum-dums. Oh, he's just go after. He's just gonna go after the criminals. Oh, that's all he's doing. He's trying this, and they believe every goddamn word.
So there's no way that a person can be smart enough to believe that Trump is a better politician than Kamala Harris. It's got to be racism, huh?
Let me tell you something about the United States. Half the fucking population are dumb fucks. They didn't graduate. Something fucking happened to them. Okay, they didn't graduate. Okay, They oh my God, the orange Jesus is coming back, and oh my God, oh, he's gonna give me $2,000. Oh my God, it's gonna be $5,000. Oh, he's gonna get all the criminals. What is he doing? He's doing all this shit against us. So fuck them.
Well, the guy claims that he's stopping dangerous drugs like fentanyl from entering America. Should he get credit for that? Will you give him credit for preventing harmful narcotics from getting in this country?
Going to China? Why is he not going to China? Why is he not? Because he's afraid of China. Because China will blow us the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? He's picking on people that can't fight back. He wants the oil.
Guys say he's only been in office 11 months. Give him a chance.
I'm not like you. I don't have cock in my mouth like you. It's dripping on cooked protein from you. I mean, get off your knees, Tim. You want me to get you some knee pads? So you'll be on your knees for a white woman, the little snow roaches.
What the hell does this got to do with white women? What the hell?
You won't get on your knees for a black woman, will you? You won't get on your knees for a black woman, but you'll get on your knees for a snow roach. Go get you some rain.
What is a snow roach?
What do you think a snow roach is?
I've never seen one. I don't know.
Oh, you be fucking them every damn time, huh? You off your knees?
I'm celibate. I'm waiting for Jesus.
No, you're not. You be fucking all of those. They have to put a jack up your stomach. You know, Tim. You be fucking those nasty ass, coochie looking, sick fucking ruts. So guess what, Tim? You love your snow roaches.
Where the hell? Listen, I'm an old man. My days of that shit is gone. What do you think I am, Ron Jeremy? Look, I like to talk to you folks. I'm not out here dealing with snow roaches, whatever the hell that is.
You are fucking snow roaches. You won't fuck a Arabian queen. You won't fuck a black queen or nothing. You be knocking us down. But oh, God forbid you see a little snow roach showing her undergarments that look nasty as fuck and it probably smells like fucking roaches. And then you be like,
what the? When have I ever knocked black women down? What the hell are you talking about?
Vice President, every chance you get, she's not good, bitch. But you put a white woman up there. Oh, her coochie does look good. Oh, well, yes, honey, you did say that, bitch. Yeah. That was a snow roach.
Look,
yes.
I often on the program.
No. Let me tell you something. I'm bisexual. Okay, I love coochie. Okay, and let me tell you something. That coochie made me go straight lesbian, and then chocolate lesbian at that. I would never, ever dip in that damn shit. It looked like Vienna sausage on crack. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I will never go back. Ugh, golly, nasty. Like, give it a get out fucking situation.
Okay, hold on. On the program, I don't knock black women. I don't know what the hell. I say that this lady right here was a bad candidate. I say that all the time. She was but that doesn't mean I'm knocking black women. What? That's not knocking black women.
You turned around with your ugly black ass said, Melania that's been ran through. That's why the border's wide the fuck open. Her coochie got ran through. You over here say, oh, her coochie looks good. And hell it don't. I'm a fucking woman.
I said hold on. All I said is we were talking about the fact that there are nude photos of Melania Trump, and I said she doesn't look bad.
But yeah, she does look bad. She tore from the floor. She's been ran through.
How are you attributing all this awful shit to the first lady? She hasn't been ran through. What are you talking about? And they don't like you. Why are you saying she's been ran through? Okay, apparently my guess dropped. Looking in the comments, damn gangs is not so red to be up. Straight talk commerce. Are you suggesting my last caller was not sober? Is that what you said? Tap the screen. We'll go to the next caller. Tap the screen. Get us up to 15,000. She was not a bad candidate. She was just too late getting into the presidential race, says Rod. Well, the reason I say Kamala Harris was a bad candidate is because I do not believe that Kamala Harris would have been the candidate if there was enough time for the Democrats to decide. And during our last live, we talked about a News Nation poll that they had on screen where they gave you the top 10 candidates for the Democrat Party. I think the number one was Gavin Newsom. I think Senator Kelly that Trump is attacking, of astronaut Mark Kelly, the seditious six. He was number two. And I mean, it was 10 people. Kamala Harris was number 10. She had the lowest numbers among Democrats for their choice to be the nominee out of all. I mean, it had Pete Buttigieg was ahead of her, Shapiro, Brashear, all of them folks were ahead of her. So I'm just simply saying that, yes, Kamala Harris only had 107 days. Blame that on Biden, by the way. But if Biden had been a one-term transitional president, I don't believe Kamala Harris would have been our nominee. I think if the Democrats had the choice to pick someone, it would not have been Kamala Harris. That's why I keep saying I think she's a bad candidate. Looking in the comments, though, Edward says Harris is ignorant. I don't know if I would say she's ignorant. I just think she wasn't a good candidate. I think you need to be able to sell yourself as a politician to the people. I don't think she did a good job of that. I think people were voting against Trump, not for her. Wasn't she the most educated of them all, says Arletha? I don't know the educational background of all of those people. You know, Mark Kelly being an astronaut, Air Force. I don't know what his education is, but we're talking politics. We're not talking working in the boardroom. Tap the screen, get the likes up to 20,000. I'll take the next caller. What I'm saying is this: as a politician, your job is to sell yourself. Your job is to sell yourself to the people. Doesn't really matter what your education is. If you're a good candidate, you can sell, what do they say? You can sell ice to Eskimos. Santos, George Santos, the disgraced New York congressman, he's a perfect example of somebody who had no qualification, yet he won the race. Obama was not very qualified. When Obama became president, he had, a Harvard law professor. He had 2 years of the Senate under him, and that was it. Community organizing. He was not a good candidate on paper in terms of qualifications, but in terms of being a good candidate and selling himself, as President Trump would say, A++++++. So when I say Kamala Harris was not a good candidate, I mean in terms of being able to sell herself. Your resume doesn't always win out when you're running for a political office. That's in the boardroom, that's in corporate America. Yeah, your resume matters more. But in terms of politics, being able to sell yourself to the people, saying what they want to hear, actually has more weight and value than what you've actually done in life. So a lot of people who have accomplished a whole lot, but they just aren't good people persons. Maybe they're not attractive, or there's something else about them that is going to make people skip over them, even though they're highly qualified. So that's what I mean. Anyway, looking in the comments though, second worst presidential polling in national history. Yes, we have heard that. But at the same time, President Trump still remains quite favorable with MAGA. Let me go back to the box. We'll continue on with Straight Talk, I think that says. Good evening, Straight Talk. Welcome to the program.
The way you handled that last individual, that was impressive. Look, I don't disagree with anything you've said so far.
Wow, thank you.
No one got to know Miss Harris.
True.
She was a vice president for 4 years. No one knew where she stood on a ton of issues. There was they just replaced Joe Biden with her. They didn't give the Democrats any opportunity to vote for who they wanted to run.
Hold on, but you're skipping over something. She did run in 2020 also when Biden won. Remember, she was telling Biden that he sounded racist because she went through some stuff as a child. The Democrats pretty much shot her down
then. I don't remember that. And that's how little it impressed upon me. But you're right, now that you mention it, but I did not remember that. Yeah. And that's kind of my point. You know, when you leave that little of an impression on the American people,
right?
One thing that people cannot say is there is no in between with our current administration. You either love him or you don't.
That is true. That is true.
And Kamala didn't do herself any favors by not going out and really articulating what she would do the same or differently than the administration that she was part of.
That is true. And I will say this normally.
Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about.
Sure.
So right now you've got J.D. Vance and you've got Marco Rubio. Everybody thinks these are the front runners for the next 4 years. After Trump leaves office, these are the two people that, are, and they're making the case right now. Every time they show up on TV, JD will give an interview. He doesn't talk bad about his boss, but he definitely puts that seed in your brain. Hey, I'm next. And here's where I agree with the president. Here's where.
But here is something I think JD Vance will stumble on, which was the Achilles heel of the Harris campaign. She was asked on The View, what would you do differently than President Biden? And she had nothing to give, which is what hurt her. I don't think JD Vance would have a damn thing to give either, because anything he says, Trump may hammer him for it.
Yeah, but here's the difference. Here's the difference. Once the administration is over, you will hear those differences.
It wasn't over but it wasn't over When Kamala Harris was asked that question, it was not
That's
over.
why she didn't do it either.
Right.
That's why she didn't do it either, because you don't talk bad about your boss while he's still sitting in the chair.
But you can't say nothing when his poll numbers are in the tank. Like right now, Trump has some historically low poll numbers. At the time Kamala Harris was asked that, Biden had pathetic poll numbers. Why would you say you wouldn't do anything different from a guy who was polling so damn low?
Because you're going to make an already bad situation worse.
For yourself?
So Joe Biden has very bad. Let's use Trump. People think Trump has bad poll numbers. I disagree with that. I don't agree with the polls that they're drawing from. I think that the people that are for Trump are for him even more because he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. No one can point to me anything Trump is doing differently than what I voted for.
Are you kidding me? You really believe that? The way those tariffs have been all over he literally imposed a higher tariff on Brazil because he didn't like a guy they were trying to prosecute. He didn't campaign on doing that.
You're talking to the right guy right now.
He didn't campaign on that though.
Yeah, half of the yes, he did. And he said he was going to bring manufacturing back. And he also explained how he was going to do it. I deal with China about 22 times a month about these tariffs.
Wait, you're telling me he campaigned on punishing Brazil with tariffs if they prosecute a former president? He campaigned on that.
Not just Brazil.
We're talking about Brazil right now, though. We're talking about Brazil. Okay. Did he campaign on that? Using tariffs as a punishment. You're saying he campaigned on using it as a punishment that has nothing to do with trade or jobs or anything.
No. 100%. He basically was saying the whole campaign, these countries are taking advantage of the United States, and I'm going to reverse that trend. And that's exactly what he's done.
I'm 100% understanding that. But you already had Liberation Day. You had imposed a tariff already on Brazil. But now because
the election, you're talking about before the election.
No, Liberation Day was April 1st. This is after the election. This is April of this year.
That's what I said.
Right. Okay, so
So I voted for him because he promised me that in no countries he was going to be America first, and that he was going to punish those countries that have been taking advantage of the United States of America. That's exactly
I'm fine with that part. I'm fine with that part. But when you start punishing countries because you don't like them prosecuting someone, that's different than punishing them because you don't like the trade imbalance. Now you're doing something different. You're using tariffs as a weapon for something you personally don't like. He didn't campaign on that.
No, there's incentives. This is how I operate. Carrot or stick. Sometimes you get the carrot. Sometimes you do the right thing, and I'm going to incentivize you by giving you a carrot to make you continue that behavior. Sometimes you get the stick. If it is something that you are resistant to the carrot, I am going to pull out my stick, and I am going to make sure that you fall in line via any means that I have necessary at my disposal.
So you're okay if Trump does not like how a country is operating. You're okay with using tariffs as a weapon.
We do it every day. Every single president has done that. If you have human rights abuses in Iran, which they do, we have straight up embargoed Iran. Haven't done business, no diplomatic relations.
That's not a tariff, though. That's a tariff and an embargo are different. A tariff
is only we're just charging them a little more. A embargo is when we circle the country and don't let anybody trade with them.
And you're telling me he campaigned on, you and I disagree. I don't believe he campaigned on doing that.
100%. That's what I heard. Listen, all of these countries, any one of these countries that were bringing substances into the United States, anytime give you an example. When he talked about the wall, Mexico was going to pay for the wall. Mexico's going to pay for the wall. People thought that he was expecting Mexico to come with a check, sign a check, and pay for the wall. That's not how he intended for them to pay for the wall. He raised tariffs on them. He seized assets from them. And that is how he intended for them to pay for the wall.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, that part I understand. I understand that people took him out
He's
of.
had all kinds of leverage.
I understand that part, but getting mad at Brazil for prosecuting a criminal, I can't I can't say you back that up.
Well, again, you keep saying that for prosecuting. If they illegally prosecuted someone, that is not prosecuting a criminal. They're only a criminal after their conviction. So in other words,
wait. So why the hell are we
he's trying
getting?
to get a fair trial for someone that what they wanted to do was regime change, and he said, "Hold up, you're going to have fair and free elections, not a regime change, and remain our ally."
So the guy that tried to refuse to have his vice president certify the 2020 election and essentially steal the election himself is demanding a free and fair election in another country.
We'll say that again.
So you're telling me the guy that tried to steal an election himself, being Trump, is now demanding free and fair elections in other countries?
Not trying to steal that election. That election was stolen from him. Now look,
where's the evidence? Where's the evidence?
If you're trying to say he tried to safeguard our elections and failed, I'm with you. And I'm mad about that. I'm very upset that he allowed it. The last election, the one that Joe Biden stole, he most certainly should have protected that. He knew what they were going to do, and he failed to protect that election for the American people. You can't sit there.
I'm just going to say there's so many things Trump said that has not been proven or turned out to be outright lies on the 2020 election. How can you possibly believe that it was stolen from him? He actually, I mean, do we discount or ignore all the lies he said about it?
I know how to do math. I know how to do math. As a matter of fact, this last election, I went on record. I got a podcast myself. Okay. 57,000 subscribers. I talk about tariffs. I talk about anything having to do with commerce. And I was very clear on the way this election was going to turn out. And I nailed it. I mean, down to...
So why, can I ask you a question? Why, if the election was stolen from him, why is it that there is not a single member of his administration from the first term? I don't think there's any... Hold on, hang on. Not only a member of his administration, from Mike Pence on down, no Republican governor. I don't know of any Republicans. They all say he lost. Why is that?
Yeah, because the politician is going to go the way the wind blows. And you make
all of them, the entire party?
How do you think they got to where they are? How do you think they got to where they are? Now, ask Marco Rubio today if he thinks we had a free and fair election back in 2020. He'll tell you no.
But there's a big... But straight talk, there's a huge difference between not having a free and fair election. Hold on, hang on. There's a big difference between saying that the election was not free and fair versus you won by a landslide. Let's say, for instance, you beat me in an election by 100,000 votes. And you can show that 10,000 people from my side cheated, so you should have won by 110,000 votes instead of 100. That don't mean that just because 10,000 people cheated, that it somehow changed the election. You still won. So free and fair versus won by a landslide, they're not the same.
No, listen, say that again. I'm sorry. Say that again.
What I am saying is I think in a country of 300 plus million people, every election has some fraud in it. But the point I'm making is just because there's fraud in an election doesn't mean that it was enough to upset the outcome of the election. That's what I'm saying. Like a good example, President Trump, right up to the 2020 election, was losing to President Biden in the state of North Carolina. He was holding rallies saying there was widespread fraud in North Carolina, but he ended up winning. He ended up winning North Carolina. A couple of weeks before the election, he passed Biden up and ended up winning that state. Once he won that state, he never said anything about fraud there again. How do we know he actually won? According to him, they were cheating. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think people get the mistake thinking that it needed to be widespread by hundreds of thousands of votes. It's only 1 or 2 votes per county that you need to sway whichever way. You just need to make up the margin of difference, the margin of error. That's it.
But when you're saying there's fraud in North Carolina, then you don't follow through with it.
There's fraud. There's voter fraud in every single county in the United States of America. And it varies on how large that fraud is and how small that fraud is. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. During COVID, by not asking people to prove who they were, you opened the door to them voting multiple times.
Yeah, but that doesn't answer the question I'm at. Why, if you're claiming there's fraud in the state, why has there been no subsequent investigations from President Trump in regards to North Carolina? You claim there was widespread fraud in the state. You went to all the states you lost. It's been 5 years. What is the follow-up in the state you won?
Well, number one, he didn't, in the 4 years under the Biden administration, he had absolutely no power.
He had time.
Who's going to do the investigation? Who's
Well,
going to do it?
he demanded investigations in all of those other states. There were recounts. They ended up paying. I don't know what the hell. I don't know if it was TikTok, but they just dropped my damn guest. I don't know why they dropped you. Can you think of the name of the guy? Straight Talk. But you're welcome back on the program anytime. I don't know why they dropped him. Looking in the comments, somebody said he's got a lie for everything Trump has done. I'm just simply saying, if you judge the election fairly, you got to hold Trump accountable for a lot of things that he said that were not. I think the reason why it appears to a lot of folks that Trump had the election taken from them is because they count and give credit to anything that looks suspicious that the Democrats did, and they ignore or overlook anything suspicious that the Republicans did. That way it looks like all the Republicans are honest and Democrats are the ones that were cheating. Like, for instance, I brought up what happened in North Carolina. What he was saying is, well, it's mostly been Biden in office. He didn't have time. Well, the last 2 months after Trump lost in 2020, between November and January, he spent the last 2 months of his term looking for election fraud, claiming it everywhere. He didn't go to North Carolina at all. Now he's been president for almost a year, and he still hasn't done anything about North Carolina. And even in the offseason, when Biden was president, he was constantly talking about fraud in those states he lost. Never mentioned North Carolina. There is no excuse for that. If you claim there was widespread fraud in the states you lost, that you won, and you didn't do anything to look into it, that shows you're not really interested in a free and fair election. You just want to win. I'm okay with fraud if it ends up going in my favor. I just want to tackle fraud that doesn't work for me. Now, in the comments, I don't know. Apparently, TikTok did not like our conversation. Let me go back to the comments. Hang on a second here. What ends up happening here is, unfortunately, I believe that TikTok, now that it's been, I want to say purchased or whatever phrase you want to give it, but now I personally, this is just my own personal opinion. I believe that the Trump administration, by way of associates or friends or something like that, because you remember China was supposed to sell TikTok and all of a sudden that went away. I believe that the Trump administration has some control of TikTok because the censorship just changed from being liberal censors to conservative censors. And I'm noticing that videos and things like that that are critical of Trump are now starting to be censored. So I do believe that behind the scenes, the Trump administration is affecting TikTok. So they ended up suspending the live. So I'm not going to go live on my other platform because we have two platforms, but because I'm going to continue this topic, we're just going to do it on the apps we have now. But I really hate when they do that because they claim the violation reason is misinformation. In the global economy, it's natural for people to have different opinions, but we seek to operate on a shared set of facts and reality. We do not allow. Why? How the hell is discussing the 2020 election still causing you to get censored or banned? It's being discussed by Trump at every fucking rally he has. Why would they take you off the internet for discussing that stuff this late in the game? So anyway, looking in the comments, TikTok wouldn't be around if it wasn't for Donnie. Yeah, but if it's around, but it's full of censorship, what good is it? I mean, if TikTok remains, and by the way, President Trump talked today once again about, because there's a merger going on between Paramount and some of these, apparently he's trying to demand that CNN get either taken off the air or management changes, which indicates that he wants CNN to probably be more like Fox or OAN or Newsmax. I'm just going to tell you my humble opinion is Trump is just based on his own words, it's hard not to see President Trump as a threat to free speech. I'm just, in my opinion, I'm saying when you're constantly demanding or threatening to take critics off the air because they're speaking negatively of you, but you have no problem with critics on the air speaking negatively of your adversaries, you seem like you want state TV. And that's what it does appear to be with President Trump. So unfortunately, I can't take callers because of this shit. Let me see if I can. We will be up on Instagram if I can get it working again. I hate when they do this, but I'm not going to bring my other live up just for this. But yeah, to me, it seems like Trump is a huge threat to free speech. And look, MAGA's fine with that. I don't think MAGA would have any problem with CNN and MSNBC and these networks taking off the air and letting Newsmax and OAN stay on. And to me, the biggest issue with that is MSNBC and CNN, if you believe they're far to the left, they're just the opposite of what Fox News is doing. Fox News, OAN, and Newsmax are no more innocent of any biased reporting than MSNBC. MSNBC is a left-wing outfit. Fox News is a right-wing outfit. So if you're criticizing MSNBC, but you're okay with Fox, then you're okay with biased news. You just want it to be biased in your favor. Watching Fox noise is the reason why maggots know absolutely nothing about. What was the rest of that comment? At least Fox has hot chicks. Okay, I agree with that. I've been to Fox News before. They invited me to be there to host a radio program. The women there, yeah, they do have some hot chicks. But keep in mind, the Me Too movement exposed the fact that the Fox anchors were banging a lot of those chicks. So those women were handpicked at Fox News. There's a lot of trophy wives and shit floating around at Fox News. So yeah, they do have more hot chicks than Fox News, but they were banging them. That's why. You talk about DEI, women that are not earning their jobs. That's what was happening at Fox News. They were deliberately getting hot chicks because they were doing things with them behind the scenes. There's also a movie called the hell was the movie called? Because it had Denise Richardson in it. Outfoxed, I think it's called. Outfoxed or something like that. They covered that story of all of those Lise Will and all them folks that were getting banged by, O'Reilly got fired during that time, Bill O'Reilly, who I'm a big fan of Bill O'Reilly, but he got caught up in that. All of them, I can't think of the other girls' name, but there was several of those girls were getting banged. If hot chicks is your source for political competence, then you probably dumb as shit. I agree with that, but listen, let's just be real. People prefer to have their information told to them by people that are attractive. Even when you're watching the NFL games, they put attractive women on the sideline to give you what's going on with injured players and things like that. People prefer to see attractive people on the air. I'm just gonna. You don't look Rachel Maddow, who is pretty popular, but she's not very attractive. She's a lesbian. It does make a difference to a lot of folks. Anyway, looking in the comments, though, I really hate that they took the damn app down. I got to appeal it, but talking about the 2020 election is still getting people censored. That is absolutely probably something that the Trump administration has something to do with. Absolutely. It's 5 years out come January. Talking about that still, Trump is talking about the 2020 election every chance he gets, but the citizens can't speak on it? Tell me that's not controlled. Where are you going to take, I don't know if, look, we may not be able to do it the way I'm doing it here. I can read the comments, but I'm trying to get, because I'm not, like I said, we have a secondary TikTok platform, but because I'm going to continue discussing today's topics, I'm not going to bring it up, because if this subject gets you banned, it'll just take down the second account. So we won't go into the next, because normally I would switch over and just go to the other account, but I'm not going to do that here. Maybe I'll just go with your comments today. Are you a proud black man? Wake the fuck up, says Massachusetts Blue. What makes you think I'm asleep? Blink a little bit, but what makes you think I'm asleep? Am I a proud black man? Callers say a whole bunch of misinformation. It's a political conversation, Tyron. It's a political curve. There's going to be Trump just got on TV today and said he's giving us the best economy in U.S. history. That's a whole lot of misinformation. Period. The way Trump is portraying the current state of our economy, it's misinformation. I don't think there's any economic analyst that agrees with President Trump right now. Same thing with him saying that the tariffs makes America money. The money coming from those tariffs is coming from you and me paying more for the shit we buy. Yeah, the federal government may be bringing in more money, but it ain't coming from overseas. It's coming from you and I. And they've been able to show people are paying more for the shit they're getting for this Christmas and getting less of it as a result. So that's different. Look at okay, I don't know what that said there, but play that dumbass rally he was at yesterday. Well, listen, the MAGA side of the aisle loves his rallies. I've been to a couple Trump rallies, and they're interesting. But this is President Trump yesterday, which is what we're kind of discussing.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home. And I wonder what grade you would give
A
your
plus.
economy. A plus.
Yeah, A plus, 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 plus.
Well, it's interesting because I talked to a supporter of yours. Her name is Melanie from Westmoreland County, PA, and she loves you. She gave you overall an A plus plus grade. But here's what she said about the economy. She said, quote, groceries, utility, insurance, and the basic cost of running small business keep rising faster than wages. She also says that not enough is being done. Mr. President, this is one of your supporters.
Okay, good. And I love her because you said I got an A plus on everything, I guess. I don't know. But
I don't think he knows how an economy works. To be honest with you, I don't want to call President Trump dumb, but I mean, his own supporters are telling him, like, this dude, what you said is not true. So yeah, I don't think he understands how an economy works. Or it's simple. President Trump just wants to remain a hero, even if he's not a hero. He's taking credit. I'm gonna see if I can bring up. I don't know how many of you folks want to come over to Instagram. We're gonna see if we can just do it on Instagram in terms of bringing up callers. I'll just put Trump economy on here, but we're on the Handsome Liberal on Instagram as well. I'm trying to get us on Twitch. We currently, I'm on Rumble as well, but I've not been able to figure out how to make it go live. But if TikTok is going to keep fucking up, we do need to find another platform if this is going to end up happening, because this is crazy for talking about the 2020 election. This is a topic that the 2020 election will probably be a relevant topic for the rest of our fucking lives. Because it's going to, there's going to be people who claim fraud took place in elections going forward. And the 2020 election and how that turned out, January 6th and all of that shit, that's going to be a reference point for national, if not even local and state elections forever. 100 years from now, people will still be talking about the 2020 election. That's probably going to be one of the most memorable things that came out of Trump's presidencies. And I'm not saying everything he did is bad. I'm not saying everything he did is good, but economies come and go. Even wars and shit like that, other than maybe the big ones, World War II, Vietnam, most of those conflicts, like blowing up boats off the coast of Venezuela, that kind of stuff fades in history. January 6th, 2020 election, the impeachments and all the shit that follows, that is going to be probably the most memorable aspect of the Trump legacy going forward. My guess is if you leave it up to Trump, they won't talk about it much in his Smithsonian, in his library. When his library comes out, if he's alive, and I'm sure he will, well, I'm not sure, but if he is alive in regards to the construction of his library, he's probably going to demand that part not be covered, or he's going to have a lot of say-so on what part of the 2020 election and what aspects are put in his library. He's probably going to really try to limit that. They need to do psychoanalysis on Trump, and they find the dirt. I don't know what you mean by that. Compared to their property tax, okay, Trump's family say he loses and never admits it. We know he doesn't apologize. So there's only one thing I know he apologized for, and that is, I think once the Stormy Daniels stuff became evident, I think he apologized briefly about that. I think to Melania or something like that. But once the Stormy Daniels stuff came, that's the only time I know he's apologized for anything. He normally don't apologize. Why can't liberals find one good thing? I listen. It depends on the liberal you talk to, Grady, because I believe Trump's handling of the border is good. I believe, making sure the people that are in this country that are vetted. I think that's a good thing, not just letting any random in the country. I think he may have went overboard though when he starts criticizing whole groups of people and saying things that folks feel are racist. But securing the border is a good thing. I don't know how much value it has, but protecting the integrity of women's sports is a good thing. I don't think biological males should play good. There's a couple of good things in there, but there's some really bad things in there as well. So I'll leave it up to you to look at that. Why do we have to find one good thing? Because it looks like you're completely fucking biased if you don't, Me Too. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a president in office that didn't do at least one good thing for the country. I think it looks biased. By the way, President Trump told Jesse Waters of Fox News that Obama did not do one good thing for America. So he actually did that himself. So why can't you encourage a good thing more often or a good thing more often? Because he moves too fucking fast, Grandy's Garden. You know how many folks I've taken flack from on the liberal side of the aisle for giving Trump credit when he does good things, like the price of fuel is down right now. I don't give a damn if it's a winter blend or Saudi Arabia's drilling more, whatever the hell reason people give. It's happening under Trump's watch. He should get credit for it. Because if fuel prices went up, he would get blamed for it. That's something good. But the fact is, Trump moves so fucking fast and says so much stuff. You can't just sit there and keep giving him credit for something good when he's doing all kinds of new shit in all of the subsequent days. That's why. Democrats can't find one good thing because Democrats are trained well. I think Fetterman is a Democrat. Fetterman is saying Fetterman gives Trump credit for Trump. By the way, there is no host of Republicans that were giving Obama credit or giving Biden credit. I think you guys are kind of failing to realize how politics works. When Obama got on television, walked down the red carpet and said, on my orders, he had Osama bin Laden killed, they called him a narcissist and said he was taking credit for what SEAL Team 6 did. They didn't even want to give him credit for having bin Laden killed. So that's how politics works. That ain't something that's unique to Trump. By the way, Trump hasn't given any of his adversaries any credit. So that's just how politics works. I paid $3 a gallon for gas today. Joe, I would first say I would need to know what state you're in because the taxes in some states are the reason gas prices are very high as well. I mean, like California's fuel costs significantly more than Indiana. That ain't got nothing to do with at the national level. That's something to do with the taxes in California versus what they are in Indiana. No bailout for farmers. I don't think you're going to get your wish on that. The farmers overwhelmingly supported President Trump. And Trump is probably going to overwhelmingly support the farmers. Trump is transactional. He certainly rewards loyalty. So I do believe Trump is going to reward the farmers. Gruesome Newsom land is failing. I don't get it. How we point out Gavin Newsom and, hold him accountable for the failures of California, but we ignore all of the widespread fucking poverty that happens in red states. And we don't hold those governors accountable at all. I think some of that is bias. I'm not saying that Gavin Newsom gets an A+ for his state, but there's a lot of dirt poor states out there. The kids are doing terrible in schools. The roads and bridges are fucked up. I mean, and there's no criticism coming from the right for those governors. Plenty of red states down there where people are dirt fucking poor and barely survive. And you're not hearing anything about the governors managing fucked up states. Just go at the Gavin Newsom. It's just, to me, that's bias. That's what you get if you watch Fox. But then when you get the opposite on CNN or MSNBC, suddenly we're complaining about it. But Fox does the exact same thing in reverse. If he's so transactional, then why subsidize Argentinian beef? Because Argentina is likely doing something for Trump, Trump's associates, or family members. Listen, at the end of the day, many believe that if for some reason members of the Trump administration are held accountable criminally, and I don't know if this is going to be that way, but if they're held accountable criminally, Argentina would gladly provide them a home. There's people already saying that. Argentina, for you folks who open history books, has a history of taking in bad guys. Argentina has a long history going back before we were alive of taking in bad guys. I'm talking about real bad guys, genuine war criminals and shit. Argentina has a history of doing that. So many believe that that might have something to do with why he's buttering up to Argentina. That if any of these folks, because let's just be clear, if the Democrats have some strong majority in the midterms this time next year, let's say November 2026, the Democrats do very well in the midterms. What is today? December 10th? You're going to already have prosecutions by now. Talking about 2026, if the Democrats do well in the midterms, what is that, the first week of November? We're now entering the second week of December. You're already going to have prosecutions taking place right now. There are plenty of folks that if Trump do not pardon, they're going to go after. Low-hanging fruit, you call them whatever you want. There are plenty of folks that they're going to go after. So it would not surprise me if the Trump administration is, planning some kind of escape hatch. I mean, Trump will be fine. Trump will be fine. He always survives. He will be fine. But all of his associates, maybe his family members, his children, business partners, I'm just telling you, by this time next year, if the Democrats do very well in the midterms, there will already be prosecutions taking place. People being subpoenaed to speak before Congress, all of that will be happening. That four-star admiral, the one that resigned out of the Venezuelan theater, that dude's going to be testifying. You're going to hear from that guy. That guy's going to have an Oliver North type household name soon. That African-American admiral that resigned out of the Venezuelan theater. Expect to hear that guy. Expect to see some testimony from that guy. Expect to see him on C-SPAN. Live Squad Nation says, love you, bro. Thanks for opening my mind to other ways to think about things. Appreciate that. Thank you. And we're doing this. We're kind of doing this without the callers today because of the goddamn, what do you call it? TikTok is playing censored, but we got Sherbert here. You can call us live on Instagram. I see one of the viewers here. I'm going to try to see if I can bring them up. It is a little weird to photos of your leaders. Okay, well, this is a political show. Why you see that? Sherbert, good evening.
How's it going, Tim?
It's not going good with TikTok pissing me off, but good to have you on.
One of the last times I talked to you, they tried to kick us off for talking about CK.
It's only on TikTok, though. Instagram, YouTube. I do live on X. You don't have any problem on any other platforms. It's just TikTok.
It seems like it's only gotten worse lately. So,
it has gotten a lot worse. It's gotten a lot worse.
I don't know if anything's going to change.
Well, when Trump talked about it being, it had to go, China had to let it go, otherwise it was going to go down, and whatever they've done behind the scenes, TikTok has remained accessible, but the censorship just blew up after that.
I mean, for the land of the free and the free speech, it sure seems like everyone wants to tell everyone else what to say and what you can't say.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to get free speech from the Trump administration either. I'm not saying the liberals. I'm not saying the liberals don't do their share of cancel culture, but switching from liberals to Trump is not going to escape cancel culture. It's just going to it's just going to change the way you're canceled.
Well, it's always funny to me when you hear Republicans cry about censorship, and it's like you were saying unhinged things online, and of course your account got banned. But then Trump goes and tries to kick AP News out of the White House briefing room because they refuse to follow one little thing. And it's just like, God, it's so incredibly clear, guys. You can't be this stupid of hypocrisy.
I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. Yeah, Trump to me, and I know this is where my MAGA side of the house aren't going to agree with me, but to me, Trump is the biggest presidential threat to free speech I've seen in my lifetime. I mean, when you start talking about taking Jimmy Kimmel and these comedians out the air for that shit, I mean, like, wow. I mean, look, Obama and Biden and the liberals criticize Fox News. You never heard one of them say it should be taken off the air or they should lose their license.
I think Fox News should lose their license. They're already not allowed to call themselves news. They're an entertainment show, and everything is just their opinion. So, I don't really like them. I think they spread a lot of harmful propaganda, specifically them getting sued for $780 million.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna disagree that Fox has spread propaganda that could cause issues, but that happens. I mean, right after the bomber, some of you folks may think this is fluffy. Thank God TikTok is down, but I'll say this: right after the African American gentleman that was planting pipe bombs outside of January 6th was taken into custody, CNN got on the air and said it was a white man. That could cause anger and upset at white people. I mean, it was not a white dude. CNN got on the air and announced that it was a white man. So Fox News does what you're accusing them of, but I'm simply saying they're not the only ones that do it.
I feel like there's different levels of magnitude when you have Tucker Carlson emailing in between saying, I can't believe we're letting all these people on straight up lying, and then CNN got the facts wrong on the description.
Yeah, but
different levels of this.
I mean, listen,
let's the same. Oh no, somebody got something small wrong versus we've been.
That ain't small though, Sherbert. That's not small. Let's say, hear me out. Let's say, for instance, something major like that terrorist action of planting bombs happened, and Fox News said it was a black man when the guy was actually white. The African American community would be yelling racism. That's terrible. I mean, CNN messed up really bad on that. That's not a small fuck up.
I would agree with you in the past, but with how clearly that MAGA doesn't want to take responsibility for absolutely anything, I just can't give it to you anymore.
Well, you're not gonna get MAGA. Listen, MAGA's rolling with Trump, and that's not going to change. But what I want to ask you,
the last guy really said that Biden stole the election while Trump was in office. Somehow he got in there and flipped the levers when he couldn't have gotten inside there. Yeah, that makes sense.
There is so much.
For even losing.
Yeah, I think the number one way of shutting down the claims that Trump won the 2020 election is to just simply ask for proof. Because you make a good point. How could Biden, who was a citizen at the time, steal the election from President Trump? The dude that immediately got in there and you said he was senile and didn't even know where the hell he was. That dude orchestrated a theft of a national election. That just doesn't make any sense at all. But they ride with that, man. They ride with that.
I mean, they've always been, hypocrites is the easiest word, where you can have the best facts that debunk everything they've ever said, and they just go, nuh-uh, it was liberals.
I don't listen. I have no defense for it. But to me, you can't say the guy don't know where the hell he's at and can not string together two sentences, but then say he's responsible for orchestrating one of the largest election thefts in history just a few months earlier. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But they believe that, man. I mean, I don't know how else to even explain it. They believe that kind of stuff.
So you were going to ask me a question. What's going on today?
Well, Trump is giving himself an A++++++. Let me ask you something, but before you answer that, because I already know before you answer that, I already know where you're going to go. I want to play something to you that we talked about earlier on the show that I just want to find out if you find any sympathy in this. I don't know why I had it queued up, but this is Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's wife. She said something that is interesting.
My silence does not mean that I am complacent. Mm-hmm. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human.
Okay,
We're all grieving.
that's not where I wanted to
want
cue it up for,
just-
but now that I've found my notes, I want you to hear what she says because she's kind of making a plea, and I want to get your opinion on this.
For that, but here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode, going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
You don't have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous
angry.
anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to...
So what I'm asking here is, now she's obviously pissed off at what people are saying about her family. I think this might be rooted in Candace Owens because Candace Owens is suggesting that there was a hit on Charlie and it didn't come by way of Tyler Robinson or whatever, but she's pissed off at what people are saying about her family. What I want to ask is, does this seem tone deaf? Because Charlie Kirk was making a living exactly what she's criticizing others for doing by saying awful stuff about other people. So do you have any sympathy for what she is going through, considering her husband brought home the bacon doing the exact same thing?
Not even a little bit. The same way I don't give Marjorie Taylor Greene credit for now complaining about being harassed when she was happy to let everyone else during the last election go under when they went against Trump. So, no, it's always boo-hoo once it's on them, but when they're the ones being the strong man and punching down, they don't give a shit. And I'm kind of happy.
Well, you're not happy.
Not right,
Wait. You're not happy at what happened to Charlie Kirk now, are you?
Oh, I am.
What?
I was the day it happened.
Why
I
would
think
you
he was
wait?
a pretty
Come on
evil
now.
person.
Why would you be?
I think he was a pretty evil person, Tim.
I mean, look, I don't know about him being
And
evil.
now he can't spread shitty propaganda against trans people, my family, and spread hate across these college campuses with unprepared debaters. He never went up and debated actual people that know what they're talking about, know all the facts. He would just go up to college kids that aren't prepared. I don't think he was a good person. And I don't think he stood for free speech either.
Okay, we can go into a debate on whether or not he was a good person. I don't favor everything he said, but you really believe his words were so damning that he deserved to lose his life?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Sherburne.
I would never be the one to do it, but it was a happy day.
That's not, no, really? No, you can't
I'm
believe
allowed to
that.
have my opinion, Tim.
I mean, yes,
I'm
and that's
allowed
what we
to
got.
be happy that an evil person is not around anymore.
Look, other than what he said, I don't even know if he could qualify as being evil. His rhetoric was not favorable to many. I get it, but evil? He didn't do anything. What are you talking about?
He cloaked himself in holy robes and came out and was very divisive and hateful against other people. I think he was a bad person. Now, the same way MAGA reacts will say, he did it with a smile. He was so good. That doesn't matter to me.
I mean, I get not liking Charlie Kirk. He was a controversial guy. I get that. But seeing how he lost his life, how graphic that was, his kids so young, toddlers losing their dad. How could you favor that?
I think he spread a lot of ill will into the world. And now that he can't do that anymore, I think it's a good thing.
I see in the comments, Freedom Fighter said, Charlie Kirk said some people have to die. He did say to maintain Second Amendment rights. He did say that. He did say that some deaths are going to be necessary or some deaths are acceptable.
He also wanted to watch public executions as well, Tim. He was not a glorious holy man. He wanted to see just as much depravity happen. It's just he thought he was on the right side of it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm going to admit that he said some pretty controversial shit. I mean, he's talking about bringing back public executions and things like that. I don't favor any of that, but at the end of the day, it's words, though. You You can't take somebody's life for just words.
I would never have done it, Tim. But I'm not sad that it happened.
Yeah, I see. A lot of folks in the comments are kind of leaning your way somewhat. I mean, Charlie is looking up at us. What are you trying to say, Me Too? Says MAGA doesn't have room to talk. They're cheering on the double tap of two humans. Wow. Clinging on a boat wreckage in the ocean. So what he is saying is MAGA has no credibility if they're celebrating the deaths of Venezuelans. But in defense of MAGA, let me go ahead and do a little bit of this. In defense of MAGA, the Venezuelans are allegedly bringing poison to the United States. I mean, so you don't put them in the same. So you give me the middle finger for folks who can't see that. Okay, so you put the killing of the Venezuelans in the same category with Charlie Kirk, who didn't harm anybody?
I would say the Venezuelans are way more of a tragedy. They literally are not even close to our country, and we've decided that it was time to execute them.
What if you found?
I can't see any justification of that.
And there's an argument to be made on that. I can understand that, but what if you found out that what if the intel told us that they were indeed carrying fentanyl with Mexico or Guatemala or Haiti somewhere as the destination, but they were carrying this deadly narcotic when the U.S. struck them? Would that change your tune at all?
Not even a little.
So you want them to live even with this dangerous substance on them?
That's not our waters to patrol, Tim. That's not our waters to control. We are not the world police. And even if we were, we have the technology to disable a boat without blowing it up and doing extra strikes. That was just incredibly horrible. And everyone that MAGA that is saying, yeah, that wasn't shipwreck. We did that on purpose. We had the total right to. They can fuck right off about the Charlie Kirk hypocrisy and me not liking him.
How about this? Maybe you need to wake up. C21 in the comments says, brother, we must prepare for President Trump's third term. It's coming. What say you?
Yeah, and I'll be at the Capitol on the day, on January 20th, 2029.
Let me just say, I've covered this before on the show. Although I do believe that President Trump would love to eternally be our leader, and there are plenty of folks on the right that would support it, you can't beat Father Time. There is no way in hell that guy's going to serve as president from ages 83 to 87. I don't know why people, I mean, you expect this guy to be viable. I mean, he's falling asleep now on television. You think 3.5 years later he's going to improve? Look, I don't care.
Taco tits.
I don't get it. Even if you think Trump's the best president we've ever had, you got to understand. I mean, look, people like LeBron James, he's not going to be playing at 50. I mean, Father Time is unbeaten, so Trump is not going to be president for a third term, even if people want him in there.
He doesn't make any sense within his conversations. He only just loops around to the same three talking points of, I get an A, we're making America great again, we're making so much money, and that's really about it. And you watch anything from 2020 to 2016, he sounded incredibly more competent than he does now. He's clearly got dementia. And everyone's just going, no, he's the God King. Yeah, third term, woo! And it's just like, no, guys, let's not have the dementia president. I wasn't happy about Biden. And why they would ever be happy about Trump doesn't make any sense to me.
I think Trump is doing a lot of things that the folks on the right like. I don't think Biden was doing a lot of things that the folks on the left like. So I understand why they're happy about Trump. I may not agree with all of it, but I understand why they're happy about him. I got to move it on, Sherwood, but third term, not likely. I don't expect it. And it is not because he can't do it. I'm certain that if he has the Supreme Court and enough folks in Congress and the Senate, they would let him do it. But Father Time is a real obstacle, and I don't think he's going to beat that.
Well, I'll be there, like I said, January 20th, 2029 at the Capitol to stop any of that if it does come down to it.
Don't do anything stupid, Sherwood. Appreciate you coming through.
Have a good night.
All right. And go ahead and drop because I got to figure out how to do this on. There we go. All right. Moving on with the program. We do have folks coming through on Instagram. So if you got an Instagram app, The Handsome Liberal, if you have Facebook, we can bring you up live there as well. Tim Liberals LIBERALS, just like liberals with an S. Tim Space Liberals on Facebook. Feel free to follow us there. We can bring live folks up there as well. So we are taking callers now. It's just not on TikTok. At least he knows how to run a country, says George. I don't know, George. It depends on what you're using to designate what is successfully running a country. If everybody in the country hates each other, is that running a country successfully? Here's an example I'll give before I take the next caller. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to smash that like button. If you're watching on Instagram or Facebook, follow the program and certainly give us a like. It helps out all the algorithms. Here's the example I give for President Trump, whereas he's doing a great job, but it can still be an issue. Let's say you got a father who is gainfully employed, makes really good money, so that the wife is at home taking care of the kids, being able to purchase whatever she wants, lives in a fancy house. There's 2 really nice cars, the whole American dream, picket fence and all. Kids can get all the latest toys and everything. The father is purchasing, anything they want, they can have because the father makes good money. In other words, the family's economy is great. Their bank account is great. The family economy is great. They're all doing great. They're all happy financially, happy economically. However, dad, when he comes home from work, he tells the wife how fat she is looking in the new dress she bought, hurting her feelings, whispers something in one sister's ear about the brother that pisses her off, and then goes to the brother and whispers something in his ear about the sister that pisses him off. So the brothers and sisters are all fighting and don't like each other. So at the dinner table, everybody is pissed off with each other, but the dad is at the head of the table saying, but look at this nice house. Look at the nice cars we have outside. None of them want to be at the table. They're all doing great economically, but none of them want to sit at the table because they all hate each other. Is that running a good household? That's the example I'm giving. Is that if everybody does not like each other, while the finances and the economy is strong, does that qualify as running the country effectively? When you may be responsible for creating all of the division. So anyway, going back to the box, 7, serve my time, same age as Tim. Did you raise your concerns on Biden? Biden didn't talk a fraction as much as President Trump. Most of the division aimed at Biden was just because some people liked him and some people didn't. Biden was not on television doing that to that level. He just wasn't. I mean, there's one at Madison Square Garden when he said the people there were garbage. He did a dark MAGA type public address where you had 2 Marines in a dark red background. I mean, what Biden did that was divisive was so infrequent, I can actually name them. I can count them on one hand. Trump is being divisive every time you put a camera in front of his face. I don't think you can come close to comparing the divisive stuff that Biden said compared to Trump. It's not even in the same universe because Trump sees division as currency. Biden was being divisive in his opinion, in my opinion, as a self-defense tool. Let me go back to the box. We'll continue on with Dennis Calhoun. We'll go ahead and bring you up. Dennis, good evening. Welcome to the program. We may as well kept Biden in there if we're going to blame the economy on him. Well, Trump's going to blame everything that fails on the Democrats. It's not just going to be the economy. It's going to be everything. Trump, every time he gets a microphone in front of his face, he's blaming the liberals for something. That's going to happen all the time. That's just it's been a success for President Trump to do that. So I can't blame him for continuing to do what works. Blaming Democrats has been like currency for President Trump. So expect him to continue doing it. I was trying to bring up a caller. Doesn't seem like
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, it didn't bring the video, but good evening, Dennis. Welcome to the program.
Hey, how you doing? I'm getting a little overlap.
What do you mean by overlap? Yeah, I don't get it. Dennis, I'm gonna have to drop you. I don't know what's going on. And we'll try to bring up another caller. I'm still trying to, unfortunately, I'm still trying to figure out how to how to, because we don't take callers on the other apps as much as we were on TikTok. But if TikTok is going to be doing this, we have to do this. In the comments, KJ says this guy is an idiot. Considering I'm the only guy on the air, I suppose he's referring to me. Appreciate your input there, KJ. We don't block, ban, or censor. Looking in the comments, okay, Farah, just for you, I will keep, okay. MAGA is literally falling apart at the seams. Right-wing influencers all infighting with each other. Trump falling asleep and threatening war with Venezuela and lying about how prices are down. Scott, I agree with some of that, but not all. I'll tell you this. MAGA, there is some infighting, but listen, Fetterman and some of the liberals fight with each. Infighting happens. But you are right. But I don't agree with the notion that MAGA is falling apart. I don't buy that because Trump is MAGA. And as long as Trump puts forward a straight face, MAGA will remain. I don't buy that part. I don't think they're falling apart. You're talking about right-wing influences all fighting with Candace Owens and now Marjorie Taylor Greene's on the wrong side of things. That is happening, but I think Trump will straighten that stuff out. They're just going to throw away the ones that are not with the program. They're throwing away Marjorie Taylor Greene. I can definitely see Candace Owens getting thrown away soon if she doesn't straighten her tune out. They'll just throw them away and move on. Now, in regards to saying Trump is falling asleep, that is happening. And crazy enough, Sleepy Joe Biden and all the insults they gave Biden for doing it, they're kind of ignoring Trump doing it. And Trump has been quoted as saying Trump was making fun of Biden falling asleep. And he stated, I don't know how he's able to do it. He said, I would never fall asleep on live TV. Now that he's doing it, MAGA's not holding him accountable for doing it at all. But last but not least, you're saying that he's threatening war with Venezuela in line about price. He just threatened Colombia today. He just threatened Colombia. He had a press conference today when they asked him something about, I guess, the Colombian president, because the Colombian president has stated that one of those boats we blew up had Colombian fishermen on it, citizens of Colombia. Trump doesn't like that. And he told a newscaster that if Colombia doesn't stop, they're going to be next. And I mean, he was serious about it because he looked at the reporter and repeated it. He said, you hear that? Colombia is going to be next. So he is threatening countries with war. MAGA reacts. We'll see if we can bring up another caller. I don't know what happened to Dennis. Fetterman is a traitor to what he ran on. Fetterman is starting to look really Tulsi Gabbard-like to the right. You see a lot of folks on the right complimenting Fetterman. So,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you there. Good afternoon, MAGA, or even the MAGA reacts.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much at all. TikTok didn't like us today. We got into a conversation about the 2020 election and you know how TikTok is. But I want to ask you because I played a clip earlier. I don't know if you heard it, but I want you to hear it again because I want to get your opinion on this. This is President Trump during a recent interview.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home, and I wonder what grade you would give your economy. A+.
Yeah, A++++++.
Well, it's interesting because I talked to a supporter of yours. Her name is Melanie from Westmoreland County, PA, and she loves you. She gave you overall an A++ grade. But here's what she said about the economy. She said, quote, groceries, utility, insurance, and the basic cost of running small business keep rising faster than wages. She also says,
why is he giving himself an A++ on the economy? What say you?
Because that's what Trump is. He exaggerates. He's always positive. When he's gonna give himself an F, if he starts saying the economy is shit, that's not gonna help anyone.
He can't be honest?
If he says the economy's good, some people believe it might boost the economy. But if he says the economy is a B or a C or a D, it's just gonna kill morale and hurt the economy.
Yeah, but if you give the economy a grade that most Americans do not believe, won't that kill morale too? If people know that you're not always telling the truth, you're just going to give real positive shit like COVID will be gone by April. If you become known as somebody who is just always going to say positive stuff, won't that affect morale as well?
No, not if they know you're doing it to just be positive, like you said. If it's like the Democrats were like, oh no, you're wrong. The fucking economy is perfect. You're just wrong. He's never said that. Like, he's never said like, oh, what you're feeling is wrong. You know? He says, I believe the economy is good, and people are gonna eventually feel the
He
same.
said it's the best economy in U.S. history, MAGA.
Like I said, he's got to exaggerate. He's got to be positive. What do you want him to say? The economy's shit. You guys are fucked. I did a bad job.
No, you can
What do
say
want
so.
him to say?
How about saying it's a work in progress? We got real good plans for the economy. I believe Americans are going to be really happy how this turns out. It's a work in progress. Why do you got to say it's the best in U.S. history?
He says both. He says it's a work in progress. And it's
No,
gonna
he
get
does.
better.
Well, do you hold him accountable for lying at all, or do you even see this as a lie?
I see it as exaggerating and being positive. It's not quite a lie yet. Because, like, what's the purpose? Is he trying to deceive me? No. He's not trying to convince me that it's good when it's shit. He's very positive, and he likes...
If
he
you
likes to
say
promote the economy. It's a
something,
good thing.
if you say something that everybody knows is not true, that's not a lie in your opinion.
I guess it's an exaggeration. He's exaggerating about how good the economy is because it's his job to exaggerate. Like, you really want him to go on there and be like, oh, this is the worst economy we've had in years. It's going nowhere but down. So everybody gets gloomy and the economy gets worse. Like, I think one of the main reasons this economy's been shit is because the Democrats have been winning, like, the PR war. I think they've done a really good job at actually painting this economy as worse than it is. This economy is a C. It's not like I'm not giving this economy an A+. I give it a C, but they paint it as an F, where it's really like it's better than Biden's for sure.
Well, I'm not seeing many analysts suggest that the economy is doing much better than Biden. I mean, the price you pay at the grocery store, has it went down to the point where you feel delighted going to the grocery store now than you did under Biden? I'm not seeing that. There may be some little swings here and there. Like, for instance, I'm a big fan of steak. The price of beef is much higher than it was under the Biden administration this time last year. It's much higher. They're saying the same about coffee and a bunch of other products.
No, it's the same or less. It hasn't gotten better, but it hasn't gotten worse.
So you think
we
that
had 9% inflation under Biden. Inflation barely hits 3 every now and then. It stayed mostly under 3, which 3 is average. That's standard inflation.
So you're saying the price of a steak has went down under Trump?
I didn't say it went down. I said it's the same. I mean, for me, it has gone down because I live in Florida and things are just a little better in Florida. But overall, I think it stayed the same. I don't think it went down. I don't think it went up.
I'm not seeing that.
I mean, I would make, like, if I got my receipts and put them together, I could probably make an argument for it that the steak got better, the prices got better, because they were really bad under Biden. You guys like have amnesia or something. You forget how bad things were under Biden. You know?
I don't forget. I don't see that big of a change is what I'm telling you. I don't recall going to the grocery store and paying $300 for groceries, and now under Trump I'm paying $250 or $200. It don't look like it changed. In fact, in areas, like I said, some areas it's gotten worse. The only area I see that's gotten an improvement is the price of fuel. But if you're buying stuff on Amazon, you're buying groceries, I don't see this economy improvement that you're talking about.
Again, I haven't said it improved. I said it's the same, maybe a little better. Like you said, in fuel, certain things has gotten better. My stocks are way better. But overall, I think it's the same. But it's definitely not as bad as Biden.
Now you being from Florida, I gotta ask you how knowledgeable you are of your state, because Alter Ego in the comments is asking me to ask you. Now he says ask that dumb motherfucker about his thoughts on the newly elected Democrat mayor of Miami, because you stated that Miami was still on the Trump train. You got your ass kicked in the mayoral election there yesterday. What happened?
I was surprised by that, but
really, 18-point swing surprised you?
Well, you got to realize, like, I'm in Miami. I couldn't even vote in this election. This is like, remember when I was trying to tell you how the city of Miami is this tiny part that's just downtown?
Okay.
And if you think about downtown, it's been completely gentrified. It's all freaking rich white people. It's like the richest part in town. It's Brickell. It's all
Yeah,
the
but
richest areas, all the rich high rises.
Yeah,
Those are the people that got to vote in this election.
yeah, but MAGA, and thank you. But Matt, and thank you for the support, Dennis Calhoun, Patriot indeed. Let me just say it this way: it doesn't matter how you slice Miami up. The fact is, in the last election, Miami was in the Trump camp. Now all of a sudden they're in the Democrats. These are the same people. It ain't like a whole bunch of new people moved to Miami and they're voting. The same Miami, all of a sudden, I think they said by an 18-point swing. I mean, the Republicans got their asses kicked in this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Like, I was surprised. I'm waiting to see the demographics of who voted. I want to see who voted him in. And
the town. This is what I was telling you about. When you're taking away TPS status from Cuban people of Cuban ancestry or Cuban immigrants, obviously you guys got a lot of Cubans in Miami. You got a lot of Haitians in Miami. These are the groups that your president is attacking. I mean, so any of the folks.
I'm curious to see if the Venezuelans did it, because I wouldn't be surprised if it was Venezuelans. There's a lot of Venezuelans in Miami.
I would not be shocked if any group of brown people or black people voted against Trump. He's being unfavorable to all of them.
All right, we'll see. I want to see the demographics. Hopefully, we get a good breakdown of who voted him in. I mean, it's the mayor of Miami. I don't want to play it down, but like I said, Miami itself is like 40 different cities. And Miami isn't really that big.
Well, you weren't talking about all this breakdown and shit when he won. Now all of a sudden he loses, and you're trying to break down Miami into all these different areas. Fact is, the same people that voted.
I was talking with you about it like 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Yeah,
Remember, I was telling you exactly how small Miami is.
Right, but what I'm saying is the breakup of Miami, the way it's laid out geographically, where people are located. Ain't none of that changed since last November when they were soundly in the hands of Republicans. Now all of a sudden they're soundly the other way. Doesn't matter how Miami breaks up. They didn't change over the last year. Only thing changed is the hearts and minds of the voters there.
No, I'm wondering how the rest of the cities of Miami voted if all the mayors changed from Republican to Democrats. Because, like I said, it's so weird that looking at us, like the mayor of Miami is such a small part. It's literally just downtown. Okay, let me give you an example. We always compare it to Chicago. Chicago's about like 30 miles tall by 10 miles wide. Miami's like 7 miles tall with not even like 5 miles wide. So we're like barely a third of Chicago. Like,
okay.
All of Miami Dade was probably the same size as the city of Chicago. So where the mayor of Chicago or the mayor of New York matters, the mayor of Miami, even though it's still like a fucked up loss and probably a bad sign, it doesn't matter as much because it doesn't even represent like the area that much because all of Miami is divided into like 40 cities.
You can say it doesn't matter now. It sure fucking mattered when you won it. You were celebrating, talking about how the Democrats, it mattered when you won it, but all of a sudden when you lose it, well, it really didn't matter that much. I'm just telling you. Go ahead.
Well, that's the other thing I was wrong about. I thought we just converted it from Democrat to Republican. Then I find out it's been Republican for the last 30 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
The last guy was the first Republican we've had in a while, and now I find out, no, it's the opposite. So it's a fucked up gerrymandered area from now that I think about it this way. I don't want to see them voted.
Look, let me...
like gerrymandered, but again, we lost. I'll take the L. I'm not trying to turn
the only thing that happened in your area, MAGA, is that the hearts and minds. I mean, there was no new gerrymandering laws over the last 12 months. People didn't move in like a whole different group of people. Nothing happened other than the people that are currently living there decided we want somebody else. That is all that happened. Is the hearts and minds of the people in your area. They changed against Trump. That's the only thing that happened.
And I'm with you. You're right. You're 100% right about that. I just want to find out who those people are and why they did it.
See, Steven says Trump is using laughing gas in his bedroom. I don't know what that means. But continuing on with the program, I do want to ask you a couple other things before we move it on from you. This is something Trump said within the last 24 hours or something, but I'm confused. Maybe you can help me and explain this.
Security. We need the one thing you need steel. You know, you can give up certain. You can give up pencils. That's under the China policy. You know, every child can get 37 pencils. They only need one or two. You know, they don't need that many. But you always need steel. You don't need $37 for your daughter. 2 or 3 is nice, but you don't need $37.
I question it now. This guy lives a life of excess. How does it look with him telling the American public how you can live and use less stuff? I mean, this guy got gold on the wall in the Oval Office, telling Americans you don't need a lot of pencils. Your daughter could use a few less toys to play with. Does that make him look insensitive at all?
I don't think that. I mean, it does make him look insensitive. What did he say you needed? I couldn't hear that video.
He said you need steel. He's talking about bringing steel back,
Oh,
which I don't disagree with him on that. You know, bringing steel manufacturing back. You know, the steel mills left, going to Russia and things like. He wants to bring the steel mills back to America, which is a good thing. But telling Americans to cut back while literally drowning in excess, how he lives, it just seems like he's tone deaf.
No, I mean the message I want to say the message I get from what he said, from what I understand of how things are, a lot of what he's saying went up in price, even though the Democrats are saying, oh my God, pencils went up in price. Pencils are still affordable. Dolls are still affordable. Like,
then why is he saying buy less of them? Why is he saying buy less of them?
Because, I mean, I think what he's trying to say is who the hell buys 30 pencils or 30 dolls?
No, he says you don't need them.
$1 or $2.
Yeah, but who the hell buys gold to put on their wall?
He's not telling people to buy less gold. I mean, it's just decorating. That's just his fucking personal style.
Maybe it's somebody's personal style to have more than 2 dolls.
He also doesn't he's not a big spender either. He's not like he has a giant yacht or anything like that. You don't think Trump is a big spender, really? I mean, in real estate, yes, but what does he do that's like a big money waste? All he does for fun is play golf. Otherwise, he works.
What?
I don't know where he's spending a ton of money other than investing in the White House and investing in property.
He was known, he was known before becoming president as having gold toilets in his house.
But that's not necessarily a depreciating asset like a car or a yacht. Gold is gold. Even as a toilet, you can melt it down and get your money back, and it still appreciates in value if it's real gold. It's like having a Rolex watch. They go up and it's a waste of fucking money to wear a watch. What the fuck, the watch gonna change your life? But they
my God.
He
gonna melt down. So he gonna melt down the shitter, huh? You don't shit in this thing for the last 2 years. You don't melt it down and take it to the pawn shop, huh? I only shit in it for 2 years.
Go to the pawn shop. They'll give you money for it if it's real gold.
Oh my God.
Am I wrong?
So your point is Trump does not spend money on shit. Now you do realize he had his own jet as a citizen as well. That ain't necessary.
Not for him, it's necessary. Certain people, when you're flying around and doing as much as he does, it's necessary.
You know how many successful businessmen out there that don't have their own jets? There's a ton of people that don't. I mean, there's a ton of very successful business people that do not have their own, with your name on it. You talk about spending. Do you really need to paint your name on the side of the shit?
I remember that last election where he flew above, what's his name's, Ted Cruz's rally. He flew above it with a Trump jet, and his name was above Ted Cruz, and I think that alone was enough for a good reason to have that jet. It's marketing. It's marketing.
He wasn't.
He needs to travel. No one. I mean, he travels all over, and it's just a lot more convenient, a lot better than a jet.
Yeah. So your opinion is Trump does not. I never have seen somebody suggest that Trump does not live a life of excess. I mean, Trump has always been known. I believe he has his own yacht too. You mentioned yachts. I believe he has that. I want to give you this. Before we let you go,
I've never seen a Trump yacht, and even his kids, I've only seen on regular boats.
My guess is if you Google Trump yacht, something will come up. I'll give it to you. I haven't seen it either. I haven't given it to you either, but he had to get to Epstein Island some kind of way. I want you to hear this though. This is President Trump saying something that is. I'll just play it.
Pause on third world migration, including from hellholes like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, and many other countries.
Those are very
Hold on.
unsafe.
I didn't say shithole, you did.
Listen, hear it out.
Remember I said that to the senators, they came in, the Democrats. They wanted to be bipartisan. So they came in and they said, this is totally off the record. Nothing mentioned here. We want to be honest because our country was going to hell. We had a meeting. And I said, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark.
Now, the obvious connection. He mentioned Afghanistan, Somalia, and Haiti, all shithole countries. Then he goes to Afghanistan, Sweden, and Denmark. I mean, you can see the connection. People are saying this guy is racist. What say you?
I mean, he happened to pick. No, but there's plenty of. Hold on, where's the bad ones? Afghanistan and Somalia.
Afghanistan, Somalia, and Haiti.
Coincidence, because he only picked 3. If he went on a longer list, it'll be less racist of a list.
Actually, well, wait a minute. He did impose a ban from all third world countries. You mentioned if he went longer. I'll give you your version of longer. Here is the list. Here's some more countries he banned people from: Angola, Antigua and Barbuda, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cambodia, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Chad in Africa, Republic of Congo in Africa, Congo, Dominica, Equatorial Guinea, Gambia, Liberia, Malawi, Mali, Mauritania, I don't know what, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Tomé and Principe, Vanuatu, and Zimbabwe. I don't think there's a white person in sight in these countries.
Yeah, that's a racist ass list.
So did we elect a racist?
I'll tell you, if it's true, then yeah, you got it. He's a racist. I gotta find out if this is actually a real list. First of all,
It is. It is. In fact, I read you 22 of the countries that are banned. It's actually bigger than that. But yeah, you're not going. I don't think there's any country in Western or Eastern Europe that's banned. Even he didn't even ban people coming in from Russia, but he went to some of these countries that have no beef with America whatsoever. In fact, I read an article today, and we're not going to go into it because I don't have any receipts to play on, but there were people that were going to be sworn in as U.S. citizens. I think this just happened either today or yesterday. So you go through all the process of becoming a U.S. citizen. That takes a very fucking long time. And when they were in line to put your hand up and be sworn in, they were taken out of the line because they were from countries that now Trump considers as countries of concern. They ain't done nothing wrong. They about to be sworn in. But because their ancestry is tied to certain countries, they got taken out of the line. The hell would come the right way. What happened to just come the right way? What happened to that?
no, I'm with you. But like I said, I gotta verify these things because the other day I was listening to you, and you played that video of him talking shit about the Somalian. Then I find out it's because they ripped off Wisconsin or wherever that had Minnesota for like a ton of fucking money.
MAGA.
That 49 of them got convicted for fraud for
MAGA.
COVID fraud.
MAGA. There's over 100,000 Somalis in Minnesota. You gonna condemn all of them because of what 40? There's been 49 white dudes shoot up schools. You want to condemn the whole white population? You gonna condemn a whole group of people because of what 49 dudes did?
He didn't even mention it once that he was mad because of the fraud that they caught.
Where's the garbage? He said they're garbage. We got to stop taking in garbage. What is he saying?
Because they stole. It was
everybody
for people to feed the children, and it was all stolen. It was one guy stole $9 million, and in children, like you guys are complaining that they're not. Trump is canceling He's not feeding the children. He's not feeding the children. Then we find out all the money to feed the children has gone to Somalia and was stolen as part of fraud.
So you're okay with attacking the whole Somali population because a handful of them.
No, I'm not, but you gotta represent both sides. I'm not okay with
There is no other side. You're calling the whole population garbage, and you find out a few members of that population committed fraud, and you're somehow trying to say that's the other side?
They stole billions.
I'm not arguing with that. So based
All
on
I'm saying is you should have mentioned it. You should have at least mentioned it, because when you don't mention it, you're like, oh, he's just being racist for no reason. And it's not because he found out that they stole billions in fucking.
So in other words, So in other words, that now makes it sound. What you're saying is, now that you know that some of them stole money from the state of Minnesota, that somehow gives you an explanation for why he was being racist.
It explains why he was so angry. Yes.
Banning them
It
from the
explains why he was so mad about them. Like, why would he pick on Somalians out of nowhere? It's because they committed a lot of fraud.
You got white guys.
Like I said, forget the 2020 election and the election fraud that they were accused of, but obviously never proven, because nobody in Minnesota investigates election fraud.
That's crazy. You got white guys to go shoot up a school, and he's more mad about stealing money than actually killing kids. And you don't see him say a damn thing when a white guy go and shoot up a school. He certainly don't ban all white guys, but because they stole some money, now all of a sudden you're pissed off.
Well, they've been working on getting rid of fraud from Snap.
We're talking about killing kids, MAGA.
Fraud in Snap.
MAGA.
And how much have you guys attacked him about how he's not funding Snap? And then we find out Snap is getting ripped off.
We're talking about killing kids, MAGA. You're talking about financial crimes. I'm talking about people go to school and dismiss classes.
Go to feed kids, and it wasn't going to feed kids. It was going to Somali.
We're talking about killing kids. Nothing you say is coming even close to that. We're talking about kids going to school and not coming home, and you're comparing it to
killing kids just as much.
You're comparing it to the theft of SNAP funds.
I mean, we're talking about what? We're talking about killing kids by not giving them their SNAP money, right? What are you talking about?
I gotta move on. All right, MAGA, you drive a hard bargain.
You gotta let me teach you how to use Zoom, so you can make these calls through Zoom on all your platforms.
We absolutely got to do that. And real quick in the comments, Alter Ego says, tell this MAGA Egyptian that Egypt is classified as a 5-1T. Oh, he's saying a shithole country. He's saying that Trump, because you're Egyptian. He's saying that your country is classified by the Trump administration as a shithole country, and you might be next. I'll give you the last word.
We'll see. They've been saying I'm going to get deported for the last 10 years. We'll see. I'm still here.
That is true. All right, MAGA. Always a pleasure having you on. We don't agree on shit today, but who gives a damn? Come on back anytime. All right, moving on with the program. And go ahead. I'll go ahead and drop him. Real quick in the comments, someone said something that I wanted to address. Handsome Conservative, good evening to you. Says, if you want to talk about killing kids, talk about women who abort their children, then I will take you seriously. As long as you want those children to be given birth to, but then you're not going to do shit for the moms, it's hard to take you seriously. Look, I'm okay with folks that believe in protecting the sanctity of life. I'm pro-choice, but if you're pro-life, damn it, that's your right to be so. But if you're going to demand women you don't even know carry babies to term and then offer them nothing but you should have kept your legs closed, then my response, you got to get the fuck out of their business. If you're going to help them out, we can have a conversation. But all you're going to tell them is you should have thought about that before opening your legs. You don't give a damn about the woman's kid not eating or any of that. You don't have a job, we're going to take you off a SNAP knowing you got a kid at home that needs to eat. We don't give a damn about you. But you want her to have that child. To me, that don't sound like you're really pro-life. You just want to demand she has the kid. That's it, you're pro-birth. So to me, that doesn't make any sense either. If you're going to be pro-life, then damn it, be pro-life. Meaning when the kid actually is alive, you're willing to help. All you want to do is make sure it passes through the womb. You're not even going to help out with the medical bills that come along with that. I don't see it. I don't see any credibility in that. Looking in the comments though, Trump is a there's no evidence to suggest that Trump has violated any children. I see that Mojaweed, I think it says. There is no official evidence. He's never been charged. Trump has never violated a child, at least. It means I'm against murdering children. No, you're not, handsome conservative. If you believe that a mom should be cut off a SNAP, knowing that the kid needs to eat and you don't give a damn about it, you just may be murdering that child through another means. If you don't want to help her with housing, clothing, and you don't want to help do nothing for her at all when she comes to you for help, you certainly don't sound like you care about the kid whether he lives or not. I don't see it. I don't. You say I'm against murdering children. You're not even against providing them the basic necessities to stay alive. I don't see any credibility in that. Depriving that child from food assistance and healthcare. Yeah, like a good example is most MAGA, most people on the right tend to believe if you don't work, you don't eat. And if you have children, then they don't eat either. I don't see how that's pro-life. I just don't. Let me go back to the comments, though. I don't believe children should be cut off SNAP. I said I'm murdering unborn children. Yeah, well, you don't believe children should be cut off SNAP, which is what you're saying. But the child does not officially receive SNAP. It goes to the mom. You do believe adults should be cut off SNAP, including parents. All of these new work restrictions in the big, beautiful bill, guarantee you, if you watch your local news affiliates, your ABCs, your CBSs, NBCs, and Fox News affiliates, not the ones on cable, the ones you get on free TV, the minute that big, beautiful bill is actually put into action come January, guarantee your local news affiliates are going to be showing you people and families in your local area that lost their benefits. People that should be getting them, but because the restrictions on this stuff has become so strong and heinous, I guarantee you're going to be seeing vets. You're going to be seeing people that have no legs talking about they want me to get a job anyway. It's going to be all of that stuff. I don't see the pro-life in that. Let me go back to the box. We'll continue on. We'll try with Dennis. Once again, they're Dennis Calhoun. I like the new rules because it makes you get up off your ass. Bro, I don't think most people receiving SNAP are sitting around on their ass. I don't. Look, if you realize how little they give people, you're not going to just live off of that. Anybody that's receiving SNAP that's unemployed probably has a side hustle. The money that the state gives most of these folks, unless you got a whole bunch of kids, it ain't enough for the average person to just sit on their ass. They just not maybe officially working above the table, but they're not giving you enough to work to sit on your ass. This ain't the 80s. You got to go out and do something. That money ain't enough to I mean, I think they said they give you like $6 a day for food or something like that. It ain't nothing special. James Harper says, MAGA talks about the Biden crime family, but willfully ignores the fact that Trump's family is doing the same thing they accuse Biden's family of at a way worse scale. Wow. I will say that the Trump administration is making a fortune. I mean, I'm sure Hunter Biden made money off of the Biden administration, but Trump's family is making way more money. I mean, these folks are going to be billionaires by the time it's done. They're making way more money than the Biden family did. So if you did not like Hunter Biden enriching himself off the presidency, but you're okay with even Barron, even that young Barron dude, is like 19, 20. That dude is worth millions already. If you're okay with that, then you're kind of okay with it. You just want it done for your side. I believe in giving veterans the help they need and children the help they need. It ain't that folks don't care about helping children. It's that you put so many hurdles in the way that you can say you care while doing everything to the opposite. Those work restrictions and all of that stuff is going to cause people who actually should get help from getting it. But it allows you to have plausible deniability and say, well, I wasn't really trying to stop them. I just, as one of my viewers said, I just think they should get off their ass. Some of these cases are going to be people that are mentally fucked up. It's going to be all sorts of requirements that they got to prove they can't work. The goal of this is to just really simply cut people off of SNAP. It ain't to make sure it's not being fraudulent. It's to make it harder to receive it in hopes that some people just give up. Just like if you apply for SSI or some of that stuff, they put hurdles in the way. in hopes that you'll just give up. That's what's happening here. Skip a day of food and think what people on Snap are going to do without food. Crime is what's going to happen. It's the modern day Reagan welfare mom argument. SGB. I can't necessarily argue with that. Let me go back to the box. Food banks are everywhere. No, they're not. Grandy Guard. No, they're not. There are people. First of all, there are people who live in rural areas. Food banks are not everywhere. Maybe if you live in a big city, there may be a few. There's plenty of places you can go where there are not food banks for miles. And obviously, if you don't have a vehicle, or if you live in a town that doesn't have public transportation, you're kind of asked out of luck. Food banks are not everywhere. We used to be a country that did not have entitlement programs, a country that people lived off of the generosity of their neighbors. And it was not enough. That's why entitlement programs came up. There was not enough people willing to help folks out. Let me go back to the comments, or better yet, we'll go to King Jones. I don't know what happened with my last caller, but we'll try with King Jones. They need crab legs for their dealer. I love, they always say that the folks that are receiving welfare and stuff like that, they're driving Cadillacs and eating shrimp and lobster. Listen, I grew up as a welfare child myself.
Mind sending us a few people? Send us some.
I grew up as a welfare child in the 80s myself. We never had lobster or any of that shit. And I grew up in an era where you could live off of welfare. And we still was struggling like a motherfucker. The last 2 weeks, you were dying for that check to come. And I live with a welfare mom. I live with the actual welfare queen type shit. You're not eating lobster and driving Cadillacs. Good evening there, sir.
Good evening. I've been watching your program for months now. I've been skeptical about coming on. I myself consider myself, I guess you would say, Black MAGA.
Whoa! All right now, let me sit up. Let me sit the fuck up. All right.
Let me say this here. I've been watching people like Gangsta Grandma and everything else come on here. And that being said, I just want to go on record and say MAGA, meaning America Great Again, may be a movement that Trump has started, but it is not a Trump movement. It is a movement outside of himself in its own. And there's a small niche group of people that believe that, whereas though it's about getting America back to a level of prosperity and economic efficiency that is outside of, even out of the realm of what Trump only has 4 years.
So let me ask you. I'm going to pick your brain here. Listen, there is no winners and losers. So don't worry. We don't censor. Don't worry about how you answer the question. You don't have to give a damn what I think. But I just want to ask you because you seem like a younger brother yourself. I mean, for folks who are wondering, you can see him if you go to the Handsome Liberal on Instagram. You can actually see this individual. Why do you favor Trump? Give me some of the things you voted for him for.
So when it came down to it, I live in the city of Baltimore, so to speak. And when it comes down to it, there are certain things that I see personally as I've seen it growing up. And I was taught to believe that certain things were meant to be correct. I grew up with people that were on housing assistance, cash assistance, food stamps. Since the time I was able to understand what these things were, this money came from somewhere, but you don't work. I wake up every morning, you're home, I go to sleep, you're home, I wake up, you're still here. There's no job, there's no income coming in from an outside source. The government is just supplying you all of this money to pay for your housing, your food, and a couple of frivolous items. That's happening now.
Here's the issue. You say that the government is supplying you all this money. Like I said at the beginning, they don't live very well. I don't even say all this money. I mean, if you decide I want to live...
I didn't grow up well. My parents nowadays, luckily, are no longer on the system. They've changed their tune, and they've gotten exceptionally lucrative jobs, which I will admit is a niche option of people. But this speaks to a bigger issue that I feel as though is where the welfare system is more of a trap than anything else. Once you're on it, it's extremely tough to get off of it.
Really? You think so?
Absolutely. There are so many, and I guarantee you this, if you bring up many women, or, mainly because women are the largest proponent of this system. If you get them on here, they'll tell you, oh my God, I don't want to get a job because if I get a job, my food stamps will go down, or I'll lose my housing assistance, I'll lose my cash assistance. So it's a really big incentive for women and people on government assistance to not get off of it, because if you're not making more than what you're already getting from the government assistance, it's a very long.
How do you respond to the claims that most people suggest that most of the folks receiving welfare have jobs? The job just don't pay shit.
I would question that. I was going to say personally myself as a, and I'm putting this all out there because I don't want to pull no punches. I don't want to hold nothing back. As a bisexual man, I have.
You're black, MAGA, and bisexual. You're doing a lot, man. What? You're part of the LGBT community as a black MAGA?
Look, the LGBTQ community, IA plus, whatever fucking alphabet letter they want to throw in it, that's a whole conversation for a whole nother day.
I agree, but you really threw me for a loop when you said that. That's like me trying to tell you I'm a white man. I wasn't expecting that.
But that being said, I am a man.
Right, okay.
I am a provider. I am a protector. Those are my two primary functions and role that I play in life, a provider and a protector first. So that being said, I have been on situations where I have been down bad. I've been laid off from jobs. I used to do special police, armed transport, everything else and under the sun. And when I got laid off from those jobs, I didn't have the luxury of choosing where either my 2 associate's degrees would take me. I didn't have the luxury of choosing. I had to pick what was available for me, and I had to grind and work to provide for my family. Because even as an unemployed man in Baltimore City, guess what? I still got no help, even with a dependent.
Here's one thing I want to tell you. Here's one thing I want to say, though, because when I told you that most people receiving welfare actually have jobs, and you said you kind of are hesitant to believe it. The example I always give on the show is, if you ever go to a dollar store, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, these type of places, the person working behind the counter that's ringing you up, if chances are they're receiving SNAP, unless they got a wealthy partner at home or something like that. Job does not pay enough for that person to pay their rent and get a decent, to buy food and stuff like that. Chances are the person ringing you up at those very low minimum wage jobs is working and receiving SNAP. And there's a ton of jobs out there like that. Most of your clerks at supermarkets that are not union, like Ralph's or something like that, most of those jobs don't pay enough. And that the place is open in the middle of the night, so it's not just teenagers working there. We're not talking burger flippers. We're talking full-grown adults. Certainly if they got children.
I would disagree. Because even those people that are out here working, and I'm speaking this from a localized perspective. Like I said, I live in Baltimore City. I travel across the country. I do. I've made it to a place now where I no longer need or require government assistance whatsoever. I do pretty okay. I do decent. I provide. But I've seen it plenty of times where there are people that have a job paying them minimum wage, and they still make too much money to qualify for government assistance. So when they say that most people work, and I'm saying this from my perspective in my city, I know that it could be a weird breakdown from state to state.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree that somebody making minimum wage makes too much to qualify?
I would argue that in my city, yes.
Yeah, but you do realize
they don't look at an individual; they look at a household in my city. So let's say you have 2 parents making minimum wage, and you still need a little extra help, you will be denied because you still make too much more.
What is you said you're in Baltimore, right? You're in Baltimore, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the minimum?
Yes, sir.
Baltimore is going to be probably above, but what is Baltimore's minimum wage?
Baltimore's, I believe it's like $15 an hour.
Yeah, I mean, but
I make more than minimum wage, but so I don't really know, but I believe it's above minimum wage.
Yeah, I don't know what the cost of living is in Baltimore, but 2 parents making $15 an hour each. I mean, I suppose
would disqualify them. And when I called, because when I was on hard times, I called the office that handles like SNAP, and I told them like, hey man, I just need like a little bit of help. I've been paying taxes since I was 16 years old. I just need a little bit. You know what they told me? They just simply told me that you need to call your state and local representatives to be able to change these laws. We can't do this on our end. It doesn't matter what you're going through. So when you tell me that there are 2 parents or even 1 parent that are doing this, guess what? I do believe that at least for my area, you're making too much money to even still qualify for any of these benefits.
Yeah, that's
and I've seen it many times over.
That's crazy. And see, that's what I'm saying is that that to me is the kind of stuff that incentivizes crime. I mean, if somebody's making $15 an hour in Baltimore, which I'm sure you would admit is going to be a really tough life to live. Certainly, if they got a child, you mentioned parents making $15 an hour. I mean, daycare and things like that are off limits. So, to me, that kind of stuff incentivizes crime. I mean, that's the only way you're gonna survive. The government has told you no.
Incentivize crime, though. It incentivizes people to continuously not work.
How?
Because if you go out and get a job that's even paying your minimum wage, guess what? Those benefits that you have, your housing assistance, your gas assistance, your food stamps, they're going to get slashed to the bone. I have a friend of mine now.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
She has one child. She has 2 children. One of her children has autism.
So let me wait before you continue. So do you agree then that a person making minimum wage should get assistance? Do you believe that what they're doing is too strict?
Absolutely. I feel as though they should qualify. I feel as though that at that point you're providing into the system, and quite frankly, it's not really even like the government is shelling out a shit ton of money on his family. They're just giving you back a portion of the tax money they already collected out of your paychecks already.
I'm really confused. You don't have the talking points of MAGA. You seem like you should be liberal or at least independent. Why did you vote for Trump?
Well, that being said, most of the things that you say on here, you don't sound as liberal as most people would.
They beat my ass all the time. They beat my ass all the time.
I've heard Gangsta Grandma come on here. I've literally listened to her as I'm driving at work.
Yeah.
Laying you the fuck out when I listen to the replay. So that being said, we can understand how neither you nor me seem like we belong in the category that we're in.
Okay.
Even the things that you say nowadays make you sound like Barack Obama back when he was initially running for president. But now, when Trump says similar things, Nazi, racist, fascist.
Well, listen.
Nobody had a problem.
Well, when you start talking about shithole countries and all that, I don't know, was Obama saying that?
No. But let's keep in mind here, there was a very large point where Barack Obama wanted to come up with his own office of government efficiency to be able to cut waste.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And government spending, and he was going to put Joe Biden in charge, and nobody had an issue with that. But now when you see the clip circulating and you check the comment section, everybody says, "Oh,
I don't. It's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine that Obama wanted to do that, and nobody on the right criticized it. Yeah, maybe nobody on the left was doing it, but I guarantee people on the right were calling him a king.
Absolutely, they did.
Yeah. So
they absolutely criticized him. When it came to talking about,
give me three. What I want to say. Give me 3 reasons why you voted for Trump. 3 policies that he promised or that you want him to deliver.
Okay, all right. When it came to it, it was really much down to like immigration, because like I said, I live in like Baltimore City, so the outskirts county, Baltimore County, whatever else the case may be. It was a lot going on in terms of things like that. I go to places, there's a lot of immigrants working. Even the companies I work for, there's a lot of immigrants working there. And I know for a fact many of them are not legal.
Number 2.
That's just number 2. When it came down to it, it was a lot of like foreign policy decisions. It was tariffs. I agree with that. Every other nation on the country can tariff American goods, but the United States as a nation is not allowed to tariff them.
Number 3.
Number 3, when it came down to it, it was just economic prosperity as like a whole.
How's he doing so far on that? He said, how's he doing so far on that? He says we're the best economically than we've ever been in U.S. history. What's your take?
I would argue, and I'm, like I said, MAGA Republican, not a Trump Republican. I can call him out on his bullshit when he says it. So that being said, most economically we've ever been. I remember when I got my first car and gas was like $2.05. We're not there yet, so you're lying. And I'm going to call you out on that. We're at like, in my local area, we're at like $2.90 something. We're at like $2.90 something a gallon. I can call you out on that. I can call you out on that 100%. I don't care.
I will say, out of these 3 reasons, now we could go deeper into them, but you gave me immigration, tariffs, and the economy. This is why I tell people all the time, I do see legitimate reasons for somebody that's African American to vote for President Trump back in 2024. Now, what he's doing now, I think, should cause him to lose a lot of African Americans because of some of the rhetoric he's saying. But I could certainly see why somebody black would have voted for him because he was promising some really big shit economically. You mentioned the tariffs. I went to a Trump rally. I liked what he was saying at the time on the tariffs. Now he's using them as a weapon and punishment, and they're unstable. Totally different. Trump now is not the Trump that many people thought they were going to get or that he promised to be. Same thing with immigration. I'm for securing the border and making sure we know who's here, but some of this shit like taking over U.S. cities and all of this stuff that he's doing and, just because he promised bad hombres, not grandma. So I think he's went way too far in regards to immigration, way too far in regards to tariffs, and you and I both would agree he's just lying on the economy.
I was gonna say, do I agree that he may be stretching the truth on the economy?
Stretching the truth.
If you look, exactly. And I'm not saying that I agree with him 100% because, like I told you, I'll call him out on this bullshit. Do I believe we're in a better position this year based on my local area, my shopping, me buying gas, me paying bills, than where I was last year? Yes. Do I believe that it is the best position I've been in since I've been an independent adult? No. So that I will call bullshit on.
Fair enough.
That being said, we are getting back to a level that I am familiar with and that I grew up with as an independent adult when I first got out on my own, and that I can get behind.
Fair enough. You're a good caller. I can certainly talk to you because I got a lot more questions to ask, but I got to move on. I got other callers. Anytime. Come on back through, man. Anytime.
Drop one more. I was going to say drop one more.
Yeah. How do you feel about folks suggesting that he's a racist?
I don't necessarily agree with that. I was going to say, and most people that suggest that he's a racist never suggested that Joe Biden was a racist, even though there were photos of him at a former Klan member's funeral.
Yeah.
Nobody ever brought up the fact that Joe Biden could have been a racist, but yet all because Trump says things that they don't like, he's a Nazi, a fascist, and a racist. But yet when Joe Biden was literally at a Klan member's funeral,
let me just, you're talking about Senator Burt. Let me just cue you in on something. Senator Burt, who was a KKK member, when he passed away, I think it was in 2010 or something like that. For years, he had made up with the African-American community. NAACP gave him an award. I think Jesse Jackson was there. Obama was at his funeral. Yeah, he didn't die the racist. What people do is they bring up he was a KKK member, and they bring up that Biden was at his funeral. They skip all of the reconciliation he made with the black community. I would say look into that guy.
Basically, you're saying is that all because somebody was a racist back when they were 20 doesn't mean that they still believe in the same racist ideology when they're in their 40s and their 50s. Yes, I can agree with that. But that being said, if you're going to call Trump on it now because of what he did 20, 30 years ago, don't skip and don't miss to call Joe Biden out with on he did 20, 30 years ago. We're going to call him on that too. And if what they did 20, 30 years ago makes Trump a racist, then it also makes Joe Biden a racist because nobody spoke on the fact of when they purposely left Ben Carson's name for the last name on the list, and Donald Trump was the third name on the list. Donald Trump refused to walk out until after they called Ben Carson's name. But yet Trump is the person that they called a racist.
Well, I will say this. When it comes to suggesting that Trump is a racist, I personally avoid stuff that he did 20, 30 years ago, like not renting to black people. He's done a lot. I'm going to tell you, he's actually done a lot of questionable stuff.
Very much now today. They use that very much now today.
I don't.
What has Trump done modern day to show that he is a racist?
Well, first of all, he's retweeted that black people are responsible for like 81% of white homicides, which is just totally false. He did that since he's been president.
That black people are responsible for roughly 70% of all homicides.
You believe?
I'm not afraid of a white man shooting me to death or a white police officer shooting me to death. I'm afraid of walking up Pratt Street down by the Baltimore Inner Harbor and being shot by another man that has a face like mine.
Okay, that may be so, but what we're talking about is whether Trump said something racist or not. And what I'm saying is when you go on the internet and you tell people that blacks are responsible, if you're a white homicide victim, there's an 81% chance that a black person did it. That's completely false. He said that. He did that.
Yes, he said that. And I'm not gonna lie. His like I said, I speak, and this is also another big differentiation that I feel as though a lot of people should give you. I speak from a very localized perspective. I've visited areas all across the country, but I have not lived in areas all across the country.
But you do understand.
My knowledge is inclusive.
You would understand how the black community would be upset at him painting blacks to be wholesale murderers, right? Of white people.
Even gangster grandma, when she came up here, she pointed out how white people always going out here shooting up schools. And when you called her out on it, she pointed out, no, they out here doing stuff in the street, and okay, that may not be good. And then she tried to downplay.
Yeah, but I also suggested what she was saying was racist. I didn't give her a pass, just like I'm not giving Trump a pass.
At the end of the day, my job is not to criticize white people because those are not my people. My job is to criticize black people because I want better for myself and my community.
If only you could get President Trump to think the same way, because he's criticizing black people.
Hey, look, by all means, whatever gets people to wake up and start to understand the issues that we have in our community and get that conversation going, no matter how controversial it might be. As long as it gets one black person talking to another black person, next thing you know, we're starting to understand we need to start calling out the bad actors in our own community.
I'll close by saying this. I don't think that's working. Criticizing black people and accusing them of wholesale murderers of white people, that ain't waking black people up and making them get up and do something. It's making them hate the guys that are saying that. It's not. If you tell lies about me, listen, I'm 300 pounds. If you go around saying I'm 800 pounds, that ain't gonna inspire me to go out and lose weight for you. That's gonna make me call you a jackass.
And be like, look at this. The scale says 300.
Right.
So yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, my whole goal and my thing that I want is I want to be able to start convincing black people to understand we need to start calling out bad actors in our own communities. It's not about what white people are doing or Hispanic people are doing or Jewish people are doing that live in America. It's about calling out bad actors in our own communities, in our own neighborhoods that we see every day. We know
you're not going to get a lot of credibility telling black people they need to call out bad actors while ignoring the president doing that, though.
But then at the same time, then if that's the case, then if you're going to ignore the people that are causing all the problems in your local area, don't call the president out when he lives potentially 1,000 miles away.
Then maybe you
on the news that doesn't affect you.
Then maybe both sides don't have any credibility. But if you're black trying to inspire blacks to do better, and they point out that this guy is saying we're murdering people that we're not, and you go, well, let's just focus on us and vote for him. I don't know how that's going to work.
By all means, you don't have to vote for him. You don't have to vote for him. But don't get it confused. Don't lose sight of who's actually causing problems in your community, because I can guarantee you, when you go to places like Cherry Hill and Latrobe, okay, there's not a bunch of white people down here causing problems. That's not the truth.
Fair enough.
There are people that are dying every weekend down there, and it's not white people killing.
No, I don't disagree with that. I got to move it on, but come on back to anytime, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Anytime. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, go ahead and drop it for me, man, because I don't know. I'm still figuring this shit out. Go ahead and drop. Looking in the comments, Jay Haynes says, this is the worst type of black man who helps perpetuate stereotypes against his own people. Yikes. Now, I do have a video. What I wanted to see if I can play this, because I couldn't find the actual clip. I don't know if Fox News took it down or not, but and I'll go back to the box shortly. Smash that like button if you're currently watching. If you're watching on Instagram, and I appreciate you guys that are watching, certainly follow us on Instagram. I'm trying to get the numbers up. We may start doing a lot more lives here on Instagram, because we obviously can take callers here on Instagram, the Handsome Liberal on Instagram. This is a video I made, I don't know, a couple years ago, but I just simply made it because you often hear the response of, Trump never said anything racist, is what people always say. So I named the video, Trump Never Said Anything Racist. And this is what I was just talking to my last caller about. I'm not going to play the whole video. I'm just going to play the part that Trump says, not any of my commentary, because I'm here with you and we'll talk about it on the other side. Here we go.
That the liberal media and the Democratic Party in general trying to paint you as a racist. Are you aware of that?
I think so, but I think people know better than that. I'm probably the least racist person on earth.
Well, I've known you a long time. I never saw any racism from you. However, when you tweet out a thing, and this bothered me, I got to tell you, you tweeted out that whites killed by blacks, these are statistics you picked up from somewhere, at a rate of 81%. And that's totally wrong. Whites killed by blacks is 15%. Yet you tweeted it was 81%. Now,
Bill, I didn't tweet. I retweeted somebody that was supposedly an expert.
but you don't
and it
want
was
to be,
also a radio
why do you
show.
want to be in that
Well,
zone?
hey, Bill, am I going to check every statistic? I get millions and millions of people.
You got it. You're a presidential contender.
I
You
have
got to check.
millions of people. You know what? Fine. But this came out of radio shows and everything else.
come on,
All it
radio
was is a
shows?
retweet. I didn't say, excuse me. All it was is a retweet. It wasn't from me, and it did. It came out of a radio show
wouldn't
and
it be
other
better?
places because you see all the names.
Look, you know I'm looking out for you, right? You know that? You know I'm looking out for you. I look out for every honest politician. I don't care what party they're in. Don't do this. Don't put your name on stuff like this because it makes the other side, it gives them stuff to tell the ill-informed voter that you're a racist. I mean, you just hand them on the platter.
This was a retweet. Bill, I'm sure you're looking out for me. Everybody is, right?
Yeah.
This was a retweet. This was a retweet.
All right, whatever it is.
And it
I
came
told
from
you shouldn't
sources that
tweet
are
ever.
very credible.
You
What
shouldn't
can I
be
tell you?
tweeting. Don't tweet. Give it up for Lent.
Now that's Bill O'Reilly. This is back when the O'Reilly factor was around. So this is a few years ago, but this is when, as you see, he was a presidential contender going online and tweeting this. I see in the comments, Dennis Calhoun said this is racism pure and simple. There is no explanation for it. Now, he's trying to downplay it from a number of angles, saying that it's a retweet. What the hell does that mean? Okay, so if I go and retweet, stuff from sites like NAMBLA, National Association of Man-Boy Love, or something crazy, I can say I'm innocent of it because I'm not the original creator. I just retweeted it. Farrakhan, Minister Louis Farrakhan says a lot of racist stuff about white people. So I can just go post this shit on my page and I get no credibility because I'm not the original author. I'm just retweeting it. That's what he's trying to suggest, that he's retweeting it. You don't get a pass for that. Certainly not in the case here where he didn't apologize. Now, we're going to talk about what he actually retweeted. This is the photo of what he tweeted out on my screen here. Now, I know it's reversed for some of you folks, so I'll read it out, but it does say U.S. Crime Statistics 2015 at the top of it. At the bottom, it says the San Francisco Labor Board or something as the source. As Bill O'Reilly pointed out, that source doesn't exist. So this is clearly something that somebody made up. Few things about this. First of all, where do you find this kind of stuff? Where do you find something like this that's going to make black people look like they're murdering whites wholesale? Probably the same place you would find stuff that says Haitian migrants are eating cats and dogs. So I want to let you know right off the bat, this shows what President Trump is likely reading. This shows some of the sites that he's likely on, because he also got the Haitian migrant thing off the internet somewhere. So this kind of gives you a look, a deep dive into where he's getting information from. And the fact is, he obviously is not fact-checking stuff before going and passing it on to the general public. Now, in this case, the thing here has blacks killed by whites only 2%. So if you're a black victim of a homicide, there's only a 2% chance that a white person did it. Blacks killed by police, if you were an African-American, I think he's saying the police only kill 1% of blacks, or something exceptionally low. And they got it highlighted in blue so you'll draw your attention to it. Whites killed by police is 3%. So that's painting that police kill more whites than blacks. I believe, they absolutely do kill more whites than blacks, but I don't know about percentage-wise, and this is in percents. Whites killed by whites, 16%. So if you're a white person and you lose your life, you're a victim of a homicide, there's a 16% chance that another white person did it. But there's an 81% chance, according to this, that a black person did it. Insanely inaccurate. And you heard Bill O'Reilly point that out, that it's only 15% in reality. If you were a white person that's a victim of a homicide, there's only a 15% chance that it was done by an African American. Simply put, fact is, there's a lot of places that black people don't live. You had 4 college students that were murdered in Boise, Idaho, at some little apartment they were at or whatever. There's very few black people in Boise, Idaho. There's a ton of cities like that in America. There's nobody black around. So to claim that 81% is insane. But this is what he tweeted out. And then, of course, he says blacks killed by blacks, 97%. So if you're a black person that's a victim of a homicide, chances are that it's 97% chance that a black person got. Now that may be close to accurate. That may be close to accurate. That because people kill based on opportunity, based on who they're around. The overwhelming number of white homicide victims are killed by white people. Just like it says 97% of black homicide victims are killed by blacks. So why he's painting African Americans to be wholesale murderers, call it whatever you want, defend it as not being racist, but it's certainly not complimentary to the African American community. This happened while he was a presidential candidate. That's what I told my last caller. We're not going back 30 years. I'm not bringing up Central Park 5 and all this stuff. He's done a lot of stuff since he's been in office. You don't have to go back that far. He's done a lot more stuff that's new. So that's why, just like you bring up, Senator Byrd, which is 20 years ago or whatever. Now we're talking about stuff that's happening while he's a presidential candidate or actually president of the United States. Obviously, what he said about the Somali population is something you can just add to that. But no explanation for this, no apology for it. Bill O'Reilly claims to be his friend of 30 plus years, see him all the time. Even Bill O'Reilly was quick to understand, like, dude, this makes you look fucking racist. Bill O'Reilly is even telling them now, like, this makes you look racist. And of course, he didn't apologize. So I always use this because people always say, well, what did he say that's racist? And look, go watch it. I've been adding stuff. I got other videos I'm working on because he keeps saying shit. But anyway, we'll continue moving on. And you're right, Dennis, proximity. People take lives for proximity. I did see a couple other things I want to point out. Obviously, somebody in the comments is saying, look at the picture. Right, look at the photo. This is the quintessential gangbanger they used. The gun is tilted to the side. He's wearing a do-rag. His pants are sagging. They actually put what looks like a black gangbanger as the shooter on this. Where the hell did Trump find this stuff? I mean, you gotta be on some far-right racist site to even come across this. And you heard Trump tell Bill O'Reilly, I don't have time to question everything I see. Is he not the grandfather of the term fake news? But yet he's posting stuff and saying, well, I didn't have time to fact check it. You're okay with CNN demanding that they fact check everything, or MSNBC, but you're admitting here you sent out some really damning shit and you didn't even do so much as fact check it. And of course, that's the same excuse they use for the Haitian migrants eating cats and dogs, is they didn't fact check that either. But many on the right are adamant that the left is sending out fake news all the time and they don't check their shit. They give him a pass for this stuff. He's been president for almost a year. What happened with all of these cats and dogs that were being eaten? Did you go there and do anything about it? No follow-up at all. So I just want to point that out. So when folks say he's never saying this kind of stuff, it always seems to be about black and brown people. If it ain't racist, it ain't complimentary. Looking in the comments though, right? Presidents don't tweet the fuck. It got nothing to do with presidents not tweeting. You gotta, look, if you're putting your name on something, when you retweet shit, it came from you. If you send something out that has your email address attached to it, or in this case, presidential stationery, you don't get, well, such and such said that. Well, obviously you read it and thought it was worth reposting. Now it's attached to you as well. What did they say? Spreading misinformation, spreading fake news. This is that. This is that. Anyway, looking in the comments, this is the moron you are supporting. I didn't say that. I'm going to leave that up. Haitians eat humans in Haiti. Well, we're not talking about Haiti. We're talking about in Springfield. A lot of folks come to this country and do not bring all their customs with them. So if someone is doing something, if you think someone is doing something in America, but you got to refer to what people are doing in their homeland as a defense, then you don't know what you're talking about. Show us them doing it in Springfield. When he said that, we did a host of shows, and one of the challenges I gave my beloved MAGA viewers, look, if Trump is right about this, I'll give him credit for it. I simply told, direct message me or come on live and show me a video where you can prove it's a Haitian migrant, they're eating a cat or a dog, I think he said a duck too, You can show them eating a cat, dog, or a duck, and you can prove it's in Springfield, Ohio. I'll give you all the credit he deserves. If you can show, nobody could prove that. I started seeing videos. I think somebody sent me something of a woman sitting in an apartment complex with a dead cat in Canton, Ohio. Okay, that's not Springfield. And it was a dead cat. And they were trying to suggest, like, you do realize, since the invention of fire, humans do not pick up animals and just bite into them. Some mentally ill woman with a dead cat, they're suggesting that she's eating it and trying to use that as a defense for what President Trump said. Even the most primitive colonies still gut and process the meat before. You don't just pick up a fucking cat and bite into it. Like, even the Haitians don't do that. Like, no, this woman has an issue. But they tried to use that. I think they showed me a dog, or what looked like a dog on somebody's grill. They couldn't prove whose grill it was. They couldn't prove where it was located. Nobody could prove or show me any evidence of a cat, dog, or duck being eaten by a Haitian migrant in Springfield, Ohio. They had nothing to show on that, which is why it's kind of faded by the wayside, because it was a lie when it came out. Anyway, looking in the comments, with all the Ring cameras and cell phones, you would think at least one video would pop up. It hasn't popped up because it was a lie. Yes, and the Klan showed up to Springfield in anger. Could have got somebody killed with that. Let me go back to the box. Mr. Bowles, a.k.a. Wild Turkey. Good afternoon. If it brings him up, Instagram is kind of flaky, but let's see if we can bring him up here. Mr. Bowles, a.k.a. Wild Turkey, I took your request in, but I don't think it's going to let you come up. Let me see. We'll try it again. If not, we may not be. Okay, I think we got you there. Okay, Mr. Wild Turkey, good evening.
What's up, Tim? It's tomorrow.
Oh, good to have you on. Good to have you on, man. So, what do you think about some of this stuff? Do you see the commander-in-chief as somebody who actually is racist?
Yeah. Did you not hear that thing he did yesterday?
What thing? Which one?
The thing, what was that thing that he did yesterday? The rally or whatever that was.
Yeah.
The rally he did yesterday.
Yeah, I saw
he
that.
said the little turban lady. The little turban lady, the lady that wears the turban. Like if that right there alone is racist. That right there alone is racist, Tim. And then he goes and says, "Oh, we need people from Norway and Sweden."
Yeah, I played that. Yeah.
Like, my God.
Now, I don't know if you see my last guest. I just had Black MAGA on the program.
I seen him.
Black MAGA don't think he's racist.
I was listening to you in a union meeting for my job at the same time, so I was all over the place. But I heard him.
Yeah, Black MAGA still is rolling with Trump. I've seen more Hispanic MAGA change their tune, but Black MAGA is still on board, man.
I told you, Black MAGA is worse than a racist white person.
Wow, damn, you think so? Yikes.
Yes, they're terrible. And I mean, he seemed like a well put together brother, but at the end of the day, I don't know why they just don't what they do. I don't know where they get their points from.
Well, in his defense there, Tamar, I asked him to give me 3 reasons why he voted for Trump. He orated 3 legitimate reasons. I mean, immigration, tariffs, and the economy. He thought we were going to have economic prosperity under Trump. I mean, he's admitting Trump is lying about it. He's judging them somewhat fairly, is he not?
If he says Trump is lying about it, then like he voted for it, but like, did he really think it was going to go this far? Did he really think they was going to be grabbing people off the street like dogs, like a dog catcher? How a dog catcher grabs a stray dog?
That's a good question. That's a good. I didn't ask it. That's a really good question.
For example, like when Trump said these people from Somalia or shithole or trash or whatever, did you not see? I don't know if you listened to the Breakfast Club or whatever, but Solomon the God did the Donkey of the Day, and the Cinnabon people. It was a Somalian company that went to Cinnabon to get a Cinnabon, and they and the lady was like, and the lady started with them there, calling them racial slurs and everything. just because they were from Somalia. It's like MAGA's like little kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how you said a curse word around a kid, and then the kid goes and repeats what the curse word is.
You're saying that if Trump says an insult about other people, MAGA starts repeating it.
They go and do the same thing they do that he does.
That you know something, that is true, because they were calling Nikki Haley bird brain, nervous Nancy, lion Ted Cruz, crooked Hillary. They do use all the same nicknames that Trump used. If Trump calls you that nickname, MAGA does it too.
Hannity repeats everything. Hannity's it's like slobbing orange jizz all the time. He repeats everything Trump says. It's like, I can't believe it. It's like these people are like, if this is not a cult, Tim, I don't know what a cult is.
But how about this?
I'm 47, and I haven't really seen that many cults, but I'm telling you that this is a cult. This movement is a cult. It's not as bad as David Koresh, but it's
damn. David Koresh.
It's not as bad as that type of thing, but there's different levels to cults, and this is a cult. Like they're running around calling this guy daddy.
How about this in the comments? So cancel culture says, bro, there's just a lot of migrants coming in, and see, they don't know the difference between color. Let's be real. So look, what about the notion that Trump is just trying to prevent all these people from coming in the country?
Because he said he only wanted white Afrikaners, Sweden and Norway. But how come nobody's come from Norway or Sweden? I've met people from Sweden before. I've never met anybody from Norway because they ain't trying to leave their country.
True. And real quick in the hang on a second. Real quick in the comments, someone told me said this is why the right has a problem with you, the way you just disarmed their argument. Give me that argument, Kelvin. I think that is. Repeat that. I'll give it credence. I don't know what I skipped, but let me know. But go ahead there. I don't forget Tamar. Sorry about that.
What did you skip? What did you miss? What did you miss?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking him. I don't know what I missed either. And I see one of
these comment gangsters. They always in their comments making all these comments, but they never come in and come up. They never get the balls to come in and actually call up and actually say what they need to say. They can make all these comments in the comment section, but they never call up and say anything.
Well, and I see Kelvin was actually agreeing with us. He says the way I disarm their arguments makes them look stupid. He's saying that's why they have a problem. So he's actually speaking in favor. He says in regards to you, true caller, Black MAGA is worse than the Klan. A Stephen A. like character. Stephen A's been in politics. He says a Stephen A. like character from Django. What do you think about? Have you heard Stephen A.? Because I do watch The Breakfast Club, but Stephen A. has gotten involved in politics.
Category, but that's how I look at Black MAGA. It's almost like Stephen from Jingle when was the Mr. Candy or whatever got killed, and he was like, no. That's how I look at it.
Damn.
That's how I look at Black MAGA. But I got a question. I want to know, let's imagine it's 2028, right?
Okay.
And let's say a Democrat candidate ends up winning. What do they do with Border Patrol and ICE with all this stuff that they're doing? How do you you can't get rid of them?
You said You said let's say who wins in 2028?
Let's pretend. What's the governor from Illinois? Not Illinois. Indiana, whatever. I can't remember his name. Let's just say Tim Walz is the president.
Okay.
He ends up winning the president.
President Walz from Minnesota. Okay. Well, the first thing they're going to do, huh?
This is a hypothetical.
Right. Well, we know that.
How do you fix all the crimes that ICE is doing? How do you fix that?
Well, first of all, they're going to have to. Well, first of all, you gut the budget for ICE, so you divert a ton of those funds, so there's not enough to pay all those agents, and they're going to have to lay off a ton of them. That's the first thing. Trump sent a lot of those agents. I'm giving it to you from a liberal perspective. This is a liberal trying to go the other way of Trump. So if I'm a liberal trying to go the other way of Trump, I'm going to either divert money that went to their budget to all kinds of other stuff so that there's not enough money to pay all these agents. I'm going to do background checks on these agents because I think everybody believes that some of these agents have no right having access to a gun and badge. So that's going to get rid of a bunch of them. I'll start holding them to a higher level of accountability so they can't get away with anything like they are now. That's going to make a bunch of them quit as well. Certainly if you start holding them accountable for racial actions and things like that. And then, of course, because Trump has deployed them by executive order, you can take them back by executive order. So you cancel a lot of those deployments. And then, of course, you got to start making people whole that may have been abused by ICE. People who have been wrongfully detained or wrongfully put in aircrafts and things like that should not have. Take some of their budget and pay out some of them lawsuits. That's what I would do.
You're gonna have a hell of a lot of lawsuits. You know, like this is gonna be if a Democrat wins in 2028. Let's put it this way: if they don't, if they win the midterms and Trump ends up getting ends up getting impeached, which I highly doubt, they'll find a way for him not to get impeached, even with a majority of Democrats. Somehow he'll find a way not to get impeached.
Well, my guess is Trump is going. Wait, you're saying if they win in the midterms next year, you're saying you don't think Trump will get impeached?
I think they're going to try, but I think he'll find a way not to get. He'll find a way not to get impeached.
I kind of wonder if he pardons himself. I mean, can you do more than kick him out? I mean, like if he pardons himself criminally, I guess you could impeach him, but you can't do anything other than maybe kick him out of office. You can't punish him.
I'm telling you, at this point, I don't know. This is like a fucking nightmare. Like I keep telling you, I keep waiting. I'm waiting for Dave Chappelle to be like, wait, gotcha.
It will be the subject of historians and political poli-science degree. This will be you might actually have classes that are just on the Trump administration. It is that different. You go to college and there's a class on the Trump administration because it is that unprecedented.
They need to change the law because I think you need to have some type of political something. You need to be a mayor or something before you become the highest. In order to hold the highest office in our country, you need to be able to hold something. You need to be able to have something. I think that's the first thing they should do. In order to become a president, you need to be a mayor, some type of congressman.
That wouldn't have mattered. That wouldn't. I mean, because Trump is doing more. Trump is pushing the envelope more now than he was in his first term, and he has on his resume now, I was president before. So he would meet your qualifications. It ain't got nothing to do with what's on your resume. It's what type of person you are. I mean, he's pushing the envelope. I mean,
every day it's something with this guy. And then he sits up there and says he says it again. He says gas is under $2 in 4 different states. What's the 4 different states? Like, and it's funny, I was thinking about you. I said, well, how come these reporters don't ever push back and ask them what's the states that this gas?
I don't want to be called I don't want to be called a piggy or a stupid. That's why they not pushing back. They don't want to get insulted.
I mean, but that's a good question though. How come they've never asked him what are the states that the gas is under $4, that under $2?
Yeah.
If he's saying it, of course. Now, of course, everybody's repeating. I try to stomach watch Fox. Sometimes I watch the 5, and sometimes I try to watch like Hannity. It makes me sick watching Hannity.
Well, Hannity getting news on how Trump is performing from Sean Hannity is like getting news on how Shadur is performing from Deion Sanders. It's gonna be skewed. I gotta move it on, but real quick in the comments, someone said that Colorado has gas under $2. That came from James Woodard. I gotta move on. I'll have to look that up. But tomorrow.
Okay, I want to see that. Prove it.
I like to see it as well. I like to see it as well.
I got a friend in Colorado. I'm going to find out for sure. And the next time I call in, I'm going to ask.
Appreciate it. Come on back anytime. Thanks.
It was a background echo the whole time we was talking. I was ignoring it, but it was there.
It sounds perfect over here. I don't know why it sounds perfect over here, but go ahead and drop it out. Yeah, maybe some over there. All right, fair enough. Okay. Hey, looking in the comments, Will G says, Trump ain't shit. said he doesn't have time for little drug boats, but has time for an oil ship. That's how you know games are being played. Yeah, the Trump administration has seized a Venezuelan oil ship. I'm surprised. That came in right before I went live. I haven't brought that up. That'll probably end up being discussed on tomorrow's show, but we have seized the Venezuelan oil ship. That ain't got shit to do with fentanyl. That ain't got nothing to do with fentanyl. That ain't got the cartels don't own oil cargo carriers. That's fucking with the country of Venezuela. But yeah, and I see Will, you said he does not have time for little drug boats, but he has time for an oil ship. I think the whole mission is starting to come together. Remember the old A-team with Mr. T and all that? I can't think of the main guy, the colonel. Used to always say a phrase, I love it when a plane comes together. That's kind of what's going on. It's always been about oil. Many would suggest it's never been about fentanyl and drugs. It's been about oil. I mean, seizing an oil container, wow. I don't know how that's not a war crime at this point, because we certainly would view it as one. Maine, everyone loves Tim, right or left. Thank you, Live Squad Nation. And I love you guys all as well. You guys teach me a lot on the program, whether you are MAGA or you lean left. I don't believe everyone is wrong all the damn time. I don't believe I'm right all the time either. A lot of times I learn from you folks. So it is what it is. You're always certainly free to come on the program and express your opinion, regardless of what it may be. You don't have to agree with anybody on this damn program, even yours truly. We won't censor or limit your time because you got a difference of opinion. That's how free speech works here. That's how it always will work here. By the way, we were taken off TikTok earlier today, talking about the 2020 election. TikTok has gotten really bad with censorship. Trump talks about the 2020 election every damn time he's on TV. Why the hell would an app take you off of the, they took you down for a few days or whatever. I'll appeal it, but they took it off. You were talking about TikTok. So we're not on TikTok tonight, Mr. Mobetta. The first 20 minutes or so of the show was on TikTok, but it went down, and we have been operating on Facebook, Instagram. I believe we're currently on X and YouTube, of course. So if you're watching us on any of those programs, feel free to follow the show. And I'm interested to see about this Colorado gas for $2 a gallon. But before we continue on, and I don't know why this came up, but we played this earlier. I want to get your take on this. This is not totally about what we're talking about tonight, but I just want to get your take on it from a standpoint of sympathy. This is the late Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica.
I don't have time for that.
And let me get my audio right. But this is the late Charlie Kirk's wife, the widow, Erica Kirk.
But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful and we are human. My team are...
Now, I wanted to play this. I want to ask you guys have any sympathy because, Erica Kirk is saying that people's words are hurting her and things like that. You hear she said we're human and all that. I'm asking this question because her late husband, he was using words like a sword. I don't think the guy should have faced the fate. I don't think he should have had his life taken away, but he was just like she said people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars going after people I love. That's what he was doing, making hundreds of thousands of dollars criticizing various people. That's exactly what her husband was doing. The guy who was bringing home the bacon to her family, that has provided her with a very nice life, was doing exactly that. Do you feel sympathy for what she is going through now that she's complaining that she's dealing with what many suggest her husband was doing to them? Let me know in the comments. Sticky Fingers, you already have a person here who loves you. I'm your fan. It is True Gas. You said so. Sticky Fingers, you saying gas is $1.99 in Colorado? Okay. Shout out to Trump if that is the case. But do you guys feel any sympathy for what Erica Kirk is going through? Because people, I think she's kind of aiming this at Candace Owens, because Candace Owens is suggesting that the alleged assassin, what was his name, Tyler Robinson. Candace Owens is saying that ain't got nothing to do. That is not the person that did this. She's saying it's some kind of a hit job. And she's using terms like APAC and shit. She's trying to say that there was a deliberate hit on Charlie Kirk. And you hear her saying, she's saying, no, it was graphic, you've seen it. And she's saying that is not what happened. And she does not like the fact that people are making money off these conspiracies. I think, is Tucker Carlson also saying it? Some of my MAGA viewers let me know, but I think Tucker Carlson is also indicating there may be more to it than just Tyler Robinson. I don't know. In the comments, King Jones is responding to Dennis, says, you would rather bash and silence people like me instead of giving me credit for what I'm saying. I don't speak or vote myself, but for the people of my community. Well, we don't silence anyone here. We don't silence anyone here. Tim, you already saw that already. ICE needs to get the illegals out. Look, they're going beyond that. What Trump is doing, because the whole notion is we don't mind immigrants coming to the country, just come the right way. Trump is going after a lot of people that's coming the right way. I talked to you earlier. There's an article out there. You shouldn't have a hard time finding it, but I think it was today or yesterday. They just kicked a bunch of immigrants out of the line. They were about to be sworn in. I mean, they don't went through the whole process. They're about to hold their right hand up and pledge allegiance to the United States. They're about to have a swearing in ceremony to become U.S. citizens. They took them out the line because apparently they have ties to countries that America has a concern with. So they actually, I mean, like, you wait all the way to this? If this person was on something, you would have knew by now. I mean, even the 9/11 folks are not trying to become U.S. citizens. You don't, just a green card is all you need. They were trying to become U.S. citizens. So I'm sure the Trump administration caused a lot of tears there that day. And that there was nobody illegal in that crowd. So the whole notion that they're trying to get the illegals out, that alone is no longer relevant. Trump is trying to get legal migrants out of the country as well. Many of those Somalis, I think a large percentage of those Somalis in Minnesota were born in this country. I don't even think MAGA views the Somalis as American. Even the ones that were born here, I don't think MAGA even sees them as American. I don't think, and this is my opinion, you can certainly correct me in the comments if you disagree, but I believe that MAGA, most MAGA, and including Trump, they see illegal immigrants that are Somalis, migrants that are trying to get a green card or residency that are Somalis, and Somalis that were born in this country, all in the same fucking group. They all can go. I don't think they differentiate between any of them. I don't think they even see them as on the same playing field as a regular American, even though they're born here. So, but yeah, they're getting rid of legal migrants. The Afghans, after what happened with the National Guardsmen in D.C., one individual drove from Washington State to Washington, D.C., critically wounded a member of the National Guard and took the life of another female. That one guy has created a policy from the Trump administration towards getting rid of all of them. That's insane. That isn't, one dude was enough to make you target thousands of people. And they've been here since like 2021. If they were that bad, you would have heard a lot more of them doing shit by now. But one guy, they're all here legally. They're all here currently legally. So when you hear folks say, we don't have a problem with immigrants, just come here legally. That is not what you're seeing from the Trump administration. They are getting rid of legal migrants. They're even talking about going after people that's been naturalized. They're going after legal migrants. Coming here legally will not save you from the Trump administration. It will not save you from the Trump administration. The only thing that's saving you is judges are making it difficult and putting hurdles in the way of him doing. If Trump could snap his fingers, plenty of legal migrants would be gone. Plenty of legal migrants would be gone. And MAGA would be applauding with the underlying common phrase, that's what we voted for. So it's easy. A lot of this stuff is fear mongering until he does it. And then they'll say you're fear mongering when you say he's going to do this stuff. But when he does it, then they say, well, that's what we voted for. Okay. Like, for instance, deploying the National Guard to U.S. cities would have been fear mongering. If you'd have said, you know, if you don't elect Kamala Harris and you put Trump in there, he's going to be sending the National Guard and the military to U.S. It's Democrat fear mongering. But then when he did it, that's what we voted for. We can tell how she should think, regardless of how ironic it is. She's traumatized still, yet her husband would have wanted free speech. I don't know. You know, I want to agree with you a little bit there, Last Squad, but I really don't see Erica Kirk as being traumatized. I just don't see it. She, to me, looks as though she got over what happened to him pretty quick. I could be a poor judge of her, but she don't look like she was that traumatized to me. And you say that, okay, you said we can't tell her how she should think. True, regardless of how ironic. Yeah, it is very ironic. Okay. You said she's still traumatized yet her husband, and her husband would have wanted free speech. I don't see any reason to believe that Charlie Kirk was not a fan of free speech. So I'll give you that last part, but it is exceptionally ironic. It is exceptionally ironic for her to plead for folks to stop using harmful words against her and her family when her husband literally made a career of it. Yeah, just like when Father Time finally catches up with President Trump and folks are out there making jokes, probably having parties and shit. Any supporter of President Trump that laughed at his jokes and things, it's going to be ironic. If you supported him doing all this stuff over the years, understand that when something bad happens to him, people are going to cheer it on. That's just what happens. If you done it and something happened to you, people would cheer on something bad happening to you. You can't treat people a certain way and then when something happened to you, expect sympathy. Isn't that what Trump is doing right now? He believes that they weaponized the DOJ and tried to go after him and his family, and now he's wishing the worst on them. Is that not what he said at Charlie Kirk's memorial? I wish the worst for my adversaries. He said that. Well, it's gonna eventually come back to him. That's eventually going to go full circle. They wouldn't care if Biden passed away. There would probably be jokes made about that. There absolutely would probably be jokes made if Biden were to pass away. Trump had people in his regime that have condoned public executions. Well, Charlie Kirk said it. Charlie Kirk said we need to bring back public executions. He said that. I don't know if he was saying it in reference to pedos or whatever, but he did say that. I'm not a fan of the death penalty myself, but I understand why some people are. I'm not a fan of it because I know it is handed down based on race and wealth. If you're white and wealthy, you're probably not going to receive the death penalty. Simple as that. So the amount of wealth you have, and then of course, skin color, gender is probably the worst one. If you're a woman, getting the death penalty is damn near impossible. If you're a guy, they hand out the death penalty to men significantly quicker than they do to women that murder. So it's not handed out fairly. That's why I'm not a fan of it. But I understand why some people are, but I don't see why it needs to be done in public. Why the hell does other Americans need to watch somebody get killed or die? I just don't understand why Charlie Kirk. Why would you need to see that? Is there anyone that? Well, I guess I would say Epstein. I was going to say, is there anybody that believes somebody who they claim was executed didn't get executed? Probably Epstein, I guess. But for the most part, when they say they execute somebody, We all are in sync that that person did get killed. So did you really need to see it? Did you really need to see that? Back in the day, they used to let kids watch that shit. The U.S. dollar value has significantly decreased. You know, the crazy thing is, I don't want my kid learning about LGBTQ stuff in schools, but I don't mind them watching a public fucking execution. Make that make sense. The U.S. dollar has significantly decreased in 2025, says Jason. It continues on by saying falling roughly 10 or 11% against a basket of major currencies by mid-year, marking its worst performance in decades. Well, Trump says the economy is the best it has ever been. That's still what President Trump continues to tout. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate you guys tuning in for this somewhat unusual live. We're normally on TikTok taking in callers, but we made it work somehow, some way on Instagram. If you enjoy this type of dialogue, as I always say, if you're watching on YouTube, follow the program or give us a sub. If you're currently watching us live on X, Instagram, or Facebook, follow the program. But if you're watching on YouTube, give us a sub. We're here most weekdays. We'll certainly see you here tomorrow, now that President Trump has seized a Venezuelan oil tanker. Wow. One of the things I want to say before we go ahead and wrap this up. Okay, Trump is suggesting that this whole thing is about preventing dangerous narcotics from being brought into America when he's bombing these Venezuelan boats. But then he just pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former Honduran president, who's responsible, federal prosecutors said, for putting 400 metric tons of cocaine into America. He just pardoned that guy last week. Oddly enough, this Honduran president that was given a 45-year sentence in U.S. federal prison, Trump pardoned him, so he shaved over 43 years off of that 45-year sentence. Here's what the kicker is, though. His own nation, the Honduras, has a warrant for his arrest, and they're working with Interpol now because they can't depend on the United States. Turns out, Trump did not just pardon this awful guy. He didn't even deport him back to his home country. So he's aiding and abetting this guy. I mean, it's like you're aiding and abetting a felon. Normally the process is once the American judicial system is done with an immigrant that has no legal right to be in America, we deport you back to the country you're from. Certainly if they have a warrant out for you. Trump didn't do that. So now they're working with Interpol to figure out where the hell this dude is at. He might be in Argentina for all we know. But they didn't send him back. So Trump did not only pardon the guy, but he also is helping keep him from Honduran authorities. Law and order president, huh? Drug kingpin. This is a drug kingpin that Trump pardoned. Jesus. Somehow people still are on this belief that blowing these boats up and stopping drugs from coming into the country while he's doing that simultaneously. He just pardoned that dude like less than 10 days ago. But we're in the middle of a drug war. You're pardoning drug kingpins. Well, and this guy was working with some of the Escobars and shit. I mean, this guy was working with he's way up on the totem pole. And the only reason why I brought this up is because folks are the Trump supporters, my beloved MAGA, as I always say, because I often ask this, why would you pardon a drug kingpin in the middle of a drug war? The response is, well, maybe he is working as a confidential informant or a snitch and working on behalf of the federal government. Now, the Trump administration has not said that, but Trump supporters and defenders are throwing that in there to kind of make it sound logical why Trump would pardon the guy. Which leads me to ask, okay, let's say that's what's going on. Why not try to turn some of these operators of these boats into confidential informants? If they got that much smack on these boats, that much drugs and shit on the boat, I mean, they know that once they're incarcerated, they're going to be in jail for the rest of their fucking lives. Why not turn some of them into informants? It almost seems like Trump is literally choosing to murder them as an option. Any of them folks on those boats, knowing that they're never going to leave the custody of the United States for the rest of their life, you could certainly turn some snitch. Why would you pardon the guy at the top and let normally when you're dealing with this shit, you normally make informants out of the people at the bottom and climb your way up to the top. You don't start out at the top. Who the hell's going to be bigger than this dude? So the whole argument that this guy is somehow working with the federal government and shit like that, probably not true. Anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I do gotta end the program. I'll see you folks tomorrow. Follow us if you're watching on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, or not TikTok today, but we'll be back on TikTok tomorrow. The Handsome Liberal on TikTok. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a sub. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Stay safe.
Good evening.
I got a lot of shit to turn off. You know that?